I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you're watching this transmission. Whether you're watching us from your condo in the sky to your camper in the woods, or just couch surfing, or maybe on a road trip. If you're not on lockdown or red alert or on curfew, you could be on a road trip. Or relaxing on your lazy boy. People of the night, welcome to Mike in the Night. It's 3 a.m. and something is moving you. So crack open a window, which I have myself here. Sit back, relax, and get some coffee or some infused lemon water like I drink. Because you're tuned in to Mike in the Night, the voice of the Commonwealth. Hashtag Mike in the Night. Track by Ralphie.co.New Zealand. Today, the real reality of things. The true reality. The real thing. What is the real thing anymore? What is the real thing? How do we warp the real... What are we warped into believing is the real thing? Now, there was a huge thing on South Florida, spring breakers there in South Florida, going against the whole COVID thing. There was tons of photos submitted with tons of people on the beach having a good time. And, in fact, the photos were taken in 2016 or 2017. So, they went back to the media and said, well, these photos aren't real. You know what the media said? Well, they don't have to be real. There's a point to the story. So, facts don't matter anymore. And that's becoming a major issue in what we're dealing with today. And that's why I got to put a show on every Saturday so we can discuss what's happening across the Commonwealth, because I don't even know what's going on anymore. I mean, cause and consequence, people, you do the crime, you do your time. Nowadays, if you're in the right category or the right group, you do the crime, you get nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Watch another channel steal that and run with it. Yeah. It's Mike in the Night. It's 3 a.m. and something is moving you. I want to thank everyone that's tuning in, all the emails, all the messages, all the stuff you guys have been sending me, all the information. Really good. I like to harness it into this one big show on Saturday night and keep you guys up to date on what's happening. So I got a lot of housing emails this week. We have a house in Kelowna go up a townhome go up 400,000 over asking for a townhome in the millions now. A townhome outside of 3.5 hours outside of Vancouver. That's how bad things are getting. And thank you for all those. I'm gonna cover that on Commonwealth for Common Folks on Wednesday night for you guys, so we could kind of catch up on what's going on there. Jem Rose is saying there's frantic housing purchases all across Ontario, all kinds. All kinds. It's not just there. It's getting out of control. It's getting severely out of control. And that's why we have to find the true reality of things. What is the true reality? What is the real? I think most of us couldn't handle the truth. I think most of us wouldn't believe the truth if it was told to us. I think a majority of people are living in a sense of false... like some sort of a false paradigm or some false... I don't know. Anyways, guys, let's go into a channel plug here. And we got Ed saying we are heading into hyperinflation, folks. That's true. And let's get... Lord Humongous is saying, I'm getting used to owning nothing and being happy. Woo! All right, we got Lord Humongous in the house, too. We had him on last week's show. If you want to go back to last week's Mike in the Night, he was on, and he gave a really good rant last week and a good explanation and discussion. And yeah, a lot of people are getting really tired of this cockamaniac that's going on. This show, this big show. You know what I'm saying? Woo! All right, let's go to a quick channel plug before we get into news on what's happening in your neck of the woods. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to set your reminders for next week's Mike in the Night accountability time. Maybe we have to discuss who's at fault. Who do we blame? Well, we live in a time where nobody, absolutely nobody's at fault anymore. And here, Mike in the Night swag. If you guys want to pick something up, go ahead. Guys, do not send me messages on Facebook anymore. My Facebook is not, I don't know what's going on, so there's no point. It's just like broken. So I got messages from people, and then I go into that. It says this message was taken from Facebook because it goes against our policy. So if you're going to send me something, send it to me on my Instagram. I'm going to give you guys my Instagram here in the comments live. There it is. There's my Instagram. Message me. Artbydano.com. Not your typical art. Guys, check him out. He's got some really cool stuff. His kiosk was closed during this, you know what I'm talking about. He's got a lot of cool stuff. Super cheap. Prints going as low in the low teens if you want something. And he'll work with you on shipping if you're far away. Artbydano.com. All right. And music by Ralphie.co.New Zealand. Let me put this in the comments there. Go ahead. He's raising money for his thing. I keep forgetting. I gotta have to do this after the show. I gotta send him some money so he could get a live radio. He's got 24-hour radio. He's got lots of stuff happening here with music releases, news, all kinds of stuff. Mike in the Night streaming on here too. If you guys want to pick up a back show, you're more than welcome to check it out. Ralphie.co.New Zealand. Alrighty, folks, people of the night, welcome to Mike in the Night. And let's move on to a little bit of news. So let's go over real quick the channel under the community section on the channel. Let's check out, I gave you guys a couple of things to vote on here. So a couple of topics we're discussing tonight. So here it is. I'm heavily invested in 17%. So we got 368 votes. 17% of you guys voted your 17% invested in crypto, 17% in stocks, 17% in real estate. So we got 17, 17, 17. We got 21% of you guys are invested in survival gear, and 29% of you guys are invested in gold and silver. So we got Gypsy Girl in the house saying hi. We got Mr. Singh in the house. We got Lord Humongous in the house. We got Gem Rose in the house. Low Roller Scratcher in the house. Everybody's joining us. Jay Borg in the house. I think we're going to get... Buddy wants to come on the show later tonight, so we're going to get him on 26 Gunter. He's going to get off work. He's going to call us. So here goes. So let's move on. So then I asked you guys, 485 votes, people voted for this. My country is becoming more. And then the number one vote was 57% was communist. This has got to show you, this is a big, when you get 485 people across the Commonwealth vote, that basically, that their country is becoming more communist, 57%, 3% say democratic, socialist 23%, and fascist 16%. Let me see if I have anything else here. No, that's it. So there it is. So we got Jay Pastor in from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's go. Now, I kind of pulled this away from, this is happening. I got some people on the ground in the Philippines that are confirming this with us. And Philippines alarmed by more than 200 Chinese ships massing in disputed waters. So, there it is right there. So this is under the Julian Philippi Reef. Hundreds of Chinese ships surrounding it. And this is some serious stuff, guys. And we don't know why, but they are surrounding it.
Now, also raising suspicion.
So that's it right there. Kind of wanted to... So this story has not made much of a mark in the American press, but if the Chinese ships keep massing in the area, investors might start asking themselves whether committing Beijing's control of the disputed waters could be permeable to something much more concerning, like the move against Taiwan, perhaps. Now, we've been discussing Taiwan hasta la vista after Joe Biden, the next day after the American elections, and Joe Biden was selected. Listen to the language here. Selected as the American president. Not elected, selected. Not even the next day. You have the Canadian Prime Minister come on. The elections in America were 100% transparent and fair. He never came on to say that when Trump won, but he came on to say that when Biden was selected. So we got an upgrade for Manakee where the flooding was. Hello, Mike and everyone. It's calm and sunny here in Sydney. That's good to hear. I'm wondering if the flooding has dissipated. So this is concerning here. I'm not playing games here. There's a lot going to happen. Amerifornia is one thing. While all the Americans are focused front and center on Amerifornia, the rest of the world's going to go to poop. And when they climb out of Amerifornia, I probably won't be alive to see it. But it's going to be way after our time when we start to see a correction, right? That's the reality of things. All right, let's move on. So let's move on to what's going on. So North Korea hits Biden provocation, threatens more arms buildup. So I think North Korea is playing the self-defense position here, where they're ready to let's see what it says here. North Korea threatened a further military buildup on Saturday in response to Joe Biden's commendation of this week's missile launches, a weapons test that marked Pyongyang's first substantive provocation since the U.S. president took office. The nuclear-armed North has long history of using weapons to ramp up tensions in a carefully collaborated process to try to forward its objectives. So are they doing this just to make some noise, maybe do some saber rattling? Who knows? Okay, so one dead after knife-wielding attacker goes on stabbing rampage at Canadian Library. I think this happened in North Vancouver, Canada. The suspect has been apprehended. So an incident unfolded on Saturday afternoon, so this is like an hour ago, local time, in Lynn Valley Library, a public library in the district of North Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Multiple victims were stabbed inside and outside the facility. Police reported 6 people were taken to hospital in the wake of the rampage. So here's a video that was surfaced of it. I mean, we can't really tell much about it. We can't really see, but here he is here, and then he goes into, lays down here. I guess he lays down. I'm not sure. They say he slashed his own wrists or something, and police move in and take him down. So there it is right there. We don't know much. We don't even know if this is the guy. This is what we were kind of given here from a link. So that's that right there. Kind of wanted to share that with you guys. Companies will need to disclose cryptocurrency holdings, Benium properties, and audit trial from April 1st. So they're doing an audit trial. So what they're doing, an audit trial means when they go back to a certain date and they start looking at financials and they start looking at potential expenditures and pitfalls. So it's more of, I don't know if they're going to be going after people or specific people for this, or they're doing this against companies or whatever the case may be. So here it is, Suez Canal update, guys, here on the show. Suez Canal. Blockage costs more than $400 million per hour, and here's how it will impact business worldwide. The 220,000 mega container vessel, Ever Given got... Ever Given? Or isn't it Evergreen? Isn't it Evergreen? Ever Given? I mean, did they spell it wrong? Ever Given got wedged in a section of Egypt's Suez Canal on Tuesday, costing an estimated $400 million an hour in goods. The blockage caused a traffic jam of 200 vessels waiting for the path to clear another 100 vessels on their way to the canal today. The Suez Canal sees about 12% of all trade, making it one of the biggest trade routes in the world. Normally, about 10 billion in trade traffic flows through the canal, which means that this blockage costs an estimated 400 million per hour in goods. Holy crap. So there it is right there. Kind of wanted to update you guys on what I got on there. Now, I'm going to break this one into 3 different articles to kind of give us a little insight on what's going on. Let's go back here real quick to the comments here. Mike Caps is saying the cops must have told the poster to delete the Facebook. Okay, so somebody posted a picture of the person of the attacker, and they were asked to take it. Like, nowadays, it's really creepy. Okay, if it's a white male, it's on the news front and center. It's plastered everywhere. It is white male, and name of the Padre Espiritu Santiago, amen. That's white male. Full stop. But if it's somebody else, they just don't want to let people, like, they don't want it to come out. I don't understand why. It doesn't make any sense. It never made... I don't understand it. I think we should be open, transparent to each other, discuss issues, and if we're only given one half of it, or we're not being told what's really happening, then how are we supposed to protect ourselves, or how are we supposed to protect our families? Anyways, let's get an audience reaction here. Peace. You're tuning into Mike of the Night, People of the Night. All right. I'm getting messages here flowing in as we go. Now, let's take a look. Let's dissect this in 3. There's 3 little parts here. I'm just going to read the headlines, okay? And we're going to put it together into one. Oh, no. Did I? Okay, let me move this one back. Okay, let's go back here. So I broke it down into 3 different headlines from 3 different points of views. Iran. China is determined to boost long-term strategic ties to fight terrorism, says President Rouhani. So, okay. So they're working together, China and Iran. Now, who would be the terrorists in this one? If Iran and China are working to fight terrorism, who are the terrorists here? That's the question. And then we go on. Then another article goes on to say, the New York Times, China with 400 billion Iran deal could deepen influence in the Mideast. The country signed a sweeping pact on Saturday that calls for heavy Chinese investments in Iran over 25 years in exchange for oil, a step that could ease Iranians' international isolation. Now, here's the deal. Now, we discussed this on Mike of the Night maybe 13, 14 times in the last couple of years. China needs to feed the red dragon. Now, if China can't get its hands on fuel, petroleum byproducts, sweet crude oil, and they decide to go to war, it's checkmate. China needs fuel to go to war. China needs fuel. If the whole world's going green and China is ramping up oil, well, the blinded West is we need to go green, get rid of this oil, but China's ramping up. $400 billion Iran deal. The country signed a sweeping pact on Saturday that calls for heavy Chinese investments in Iran over 25 years in exchange for oil, a step that could ease Iran's international isolation. The deal could deepen China's influence in the Middle East and undercut American efforts to keep Iran isolated. Now, Iran's been isolated because if Iran, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia became allies, that would be a big issue. They could unify, create a unified currency. They could create an oil-backed currency that's actually backed by physical oil. Oh my God! It's these guys need freedom. Bring them freedom. So that's what will happen, right? So there it is, Iran to Iran. And that's what's happening. Iran is making ties. Now, China's been making ties with Russia. China has been in basically huge, deep ties with Russia. And I don't know what's happening because the West is seeing is debating, protesting, cancel culture. It's the biggest gong show in the West. Well, the Middle East, Asia, Russia, parts of Africa are creating a strategic plan. All right, let's move on. Iran and China signed massive 25-year deal, 400 billion Chinese infrastructure investment for oil. Increasingly, it appears the so-called rogue states and those under Washington's wrath and sanctions are coming together to combat U.S. dominance across the globe. It was a process already set in motion after years of aggressive U.S. attempts to enforce a ban on Iranian and Venezuelan oil as a prime example. Oh man, what is going on? And this is how the, I'm going to say this in quotation, the axis of evil was formed after World War I, right? All right, let's keep going. Now, this one's been sent to me quite a few times this week. Oakland will give low-income families of color $500 per month, no strings attached. Now, I don't understand. I don't know if I've been to Oakland, to be honest with you. I don't remember if I've been to Oakland. Are there any white poor people living in Oakland, California? I mean, I don't understand why. Like, what does color mean? Like, what do they mean? There's a range. Right? I'm a Portuguese. I'm actually surprisingly a lot darker. I got lots of lights on me, but I'm a lot darker. I could be considered a person like what is? Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with that. I'll leave that with you guys for opinion. So listen to this.
We can't do anything right. Our military has to be strengthened. Our vets have to be taken care of. We have to end Obamacare, and we have to make our country great again, and I will do that.
All right. So Putin thinks democracy is not fit for the future. U.S. President Joe Biden claims amid growing diplomatic row with Russia's counterpart. Wow. Speaking at a press conference in the White House on Thursday, Biden said that he had got to know China Premier Xi Jinping personally while serving as the Barack Obama's vice president. He is very straightforward and doesn't have a democratic with a small d bone in his body, Biden said. But he's a smart guy. He doesn't have a democratic with a small d bone in his body. I don't know what's happening. Like, so here it is. Biden clearly doesn't want good relations with Russia, Kremlin declares after U.S. president backs Putin is a killer comments. Oh my God. This is like nonstop. This divide. Canada Africa Climate Fund receives $132.9 million of Canadian taxpayers' money investment from the Trudeau Liberals. So there it is right there.
Mexico.
And I got the wrong soundboard here. So every time we see Trudeau, we got to say this.
The man. The man.
And they're pushing for a snap election in Canada really, really, really hard. Art and Soul is commenting in the comments, it's outrageous that poor white families are excluded. In my opinion, they are trying to create unrest and more division. Lord Humongous was recently in California, and he's saying it's a communist haven now. We got Lisa in the comments says, I was born and raised in South Sorry. In San Francisco, yes, there are poor whites in Oakland. As a black person, this deal is wrong. And then who else we got? Comments going by. What else is? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just zoned into the comments. Comments are moving pretty quick there. So we got right here, Canada doing its good deeds by sending more money for climate change.
The man.
There it is. All right. So this was sent to me by someone living in Iran. Sent me this saying, "Hey, Mike, you should talk about this on your show. Facebook disables Press TV's page in new attack on free speech." So I guess they can get a point of view. Now, Facebook is trying to say that it's state-run media, and it doesn't really propose state-run media too much, and it doesn't want state-run media, taking over the page. But Canada's state-run media, Canada's media dinosaur, the CBC and all that Mickey Mouse that we have here, that's been bailed out many times, hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayers' money, but yet they don't declare it as state-run media. It makes no sense. At least be honest with it. Put a comment below, just like when you go on YouTube, when you go on RT and you go on other channels. This is state-run, funded by state-run media. This is government-funded media. They should do that, okay? They should do that and make it fair. This way, when Canada posts something, it should say below, this is funded by Canadian taxpayers. And it's kind of funny. So the Alchemist is saying the race divide agenda will not stop from the left and the media. And you know what's funny? You got Russia, Iran, okay? You got China. You got Venezuela. Heck, you even have Bolivia. You have all these countries unifying. Okay? Everybody's unifying. But the West is falling apart. The West is learning to hate each other more, learning to rat on your neighbors even further, to hate your neighbors, compete with them, and talk bad about everybody that you know. And that's what the West is learning now. All right, I want to get someone on the show here. Let's see if she picks a surprise call somebody on the show. Anna, is that you? Let's see if she picks a surprise call somebody on the show. Anna? I can hear the show here. I can hear her in the background.
Sorry, having a little trouble. Too many people are calling at the same time.
Interesting. I'm hearing a playback on the show. All right, I tried to call Anna Key just to see what she was up to. Huh, interesting. All right, let's get Lenny. Let's see if Lenny's busy, if she could do a plug real quick on the show. BC in the Matrix says,
Mikey.
I'm at work, don't call me. Yo, Lenny, what's up?
Woo! Just watching your awesome show. So Anna didn't answer then? Call her later?
What's that?
Oh, I thought you were calling Anna last I heard. I was looking forward to hear from her. I guess you'll call her later.
Yeah, I'll call her back. I was trying to call,
Yeah.
but I was getting some reverb on the thing. So, guys, when I call you, if you call in, do not watch the show and expect to follow it on the conversation because there's a lag.
Yes.
There's definitely a lag. It's what, 8 seconds or 12 seconds?
Yeah. Fun. Thank you.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lynn, what's going on? What's happening? What do you see happening? I mean, we got all kinds in the news. We got a stabbing in North Vancouver. We got Let's start off. Give us your opinion on North Korea. What are they doing? Saber rattling, but why?
Well, for me, the way I truly see it is that's kind of like a soap opera. Like, I know it's interesting. I know there really are different players. I know it's like a game of strategy, but truly it's a game. So all those politics, like who's together, and China's the rising star now because they're going to be the new Russia, I guess, but these are really just games. All of that is games. Yep. And even if they kill people, what do they care? They're playing games that kill, whatever. It's all part of the game. It doesn't really mean like, wow, people died. That must mean it's real. It's a real war. Nah, that's just games. So people will tune in and wonder what's all going on from team to team and who's ahead and who's killing who. But really, there's people who are all up above who are orchestrating it all. Us people wouldn't hate each other. We wouldn't. I got no problem with Koreans. Well, North Korea, they're a little different, right? They are, they're poorer. I know that. And they don't get along with South Korea that well. And it's kind of sad because I know people from those parts and families are divided there. Mm-hmm. Their grandparents might be in North Korea and they lived in South and now they can't see them,
But I think Joe Biden's administration needs a little bit of a little diversity in it right now. And I think this is going to help to see how he's going to cope with the upcoming events that America might be facing.
Yeah, sure. If you really think all those stories they're just stories, and Joe Biden, that's just politics.
I know you like him very much.
Sorry. Does he? I don't know. Like, it's not like when Trump was around, eh? We saw lots of Trump. This guy, I don't know. I saw him fall down the stairs. I saw some really funny little made up videos where, he's being like Trump's golfing and hitting him in the foot. And that's why he falls, like different.
Well, you know
scenarios.
What? Let me correct you there. He fell up the stairs 3 times.
You're right. He fell. That's even better. Like, who can fall up the stairs 3 times? He's a champ. You got to be talented.
Okay, so let's go over to the Suez Canal blockage. Cost $400 million an hour. Was this orchestrated? Is it a false flag? Is this a precursor to a war, or it's just they ran aground, and hopefully high tide comes?
Yeah, do you really think they run aground? Are they that dumb? You can't be a captain of that size of ship and be an expert shipper and not know that the water's low. Come on. Who does that? Who does that? That almost seems like a setup, only because if it's true that they're going to try to cause shortages all around the world, what a perfect little way. It's another little way to give stress and cause shortage, and all those poor animals on board. Who knows what's going to happen to them? Will they make it? Will they come on and feed them? I don't know what's going to happen, but lots of spoilage maybe, right? I think there's going to be huge delays. Oof, not just that ship, like different ships that are behind the lineups. Wow. Have you seen the lineups of?
Yes, they go like over 100 miles now.
Right. Well, they're trying alternate routes, but I don't know what's going to cut. That's just wasting and spoiling food and resources, and then charging for every little thing. And they want to spend money on ridiculous things. And it's just it's a gorge, it's some kind of crazy gorging on everything.
Now,
gross.
We got Iran and China are boosting strategic ties. And now, you see, the media out of the Middle East is titling it "Fights to Fight Terrorism," and then you got the media. Out of the New York Times is to deepen influence in the Middle East to buy oil, and then you got someone else commenting on it, saying investment for infrastructure in return for trade of oil. So if everybody's going green and the whole world's pushing for green, and even Leonardo DiCaprio's pushing for green, what does that mean when China's ramping up on more oil? I smell war. I know you don't think, but I think there's going to be war.
Yeah, but there
Man.
is war. It's not like I don't think there's war. I just
No,
think that wars.
I mean, it's going to be like, yeah. I think Taiwan's going to go, and I think when Taiwan falls, I think that's when the West is going to wake up and say, okay, guys, all this propagandizing, it needs to stop now. Love your neighbor. We need to unify as one, and we need to fight the enemy. But I don't know. Like, I mean, could America win its next war?
Well, if they're going to do a one world order, that means everyone has to also at one point come all at peace, because that's going to be part, don't you think? How do you have a one world order unless you have a one world peace of some kind, right? So before you can have peace, you got to have this big threat of all of this war. So probably this is going to get a lot worse, right? All over the place, everyone will war, like a world war, but huger. And then someone has to come and save the day and pretend that we're all at peace. I think that's kind of the plan that's ahead. Who knows what the timing is? But yeah, so you have to have these little strategies of who's going to fight who, why, where. And oil, when has that not been a thing? As soon as there was oil, it was let's all go get oil in those places, and those wars caused by that. We know who runs the oil, pretty much. I mean, who owns most of the oil? You know, they have an unfair monopoly. They always have for over 100 years. And who has the oil has the world.
That's right.
Right? That's true. They make all the medicine from that. They make all the plastics. They have just infiltrated their little disgusting, poisonous, fake, everything all over. We're going to have to clean all that up. And we paid for all that. They made all the money off that. And then with their money started to monopolize even more and more parts and just take over humanity. I don't know when it's going to end. I don't, but there is an end game, and they're not going to win. So, you know, their little wars. What else is new? I don't know. Has there ever been a time where people didn't talk about war? Not since I've been alive. I've never known a time. So it's not really anything new. It's just like a game. It's like who's ahead in the fifth. I don't know. So when I see that in the news, I get it, you know, and I follow it. I know, right? I see, but also know it's just part of their little, who knows? It doesn't even mean anything. But yeah, sure. I'm sure there'll be war. There's a war right now. There's a war against us and our humanity. That's for sure. And those other wars like that you're talking about, that's just a front screen. That just takes your eye off what's really going on. You know,
because I think they're creating a distraction for the distraction to deviate from the real distraction that's happening with the other distraction. Yeah.
Yes, it's all a big distraction for sure, because that is who we know who the author of confusion is, right? The enemy to our soul, he's the author of confusion. So confusion is just the order of the day. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. In every way, shape, and form. Who knew? Like, if you're not grounded now, like, I don't know how people who aren't grounded, I don't know, are they in like a whirlpool being flushed down the toilet? What do they even make of things? Like, to me and to others, you know, we just look at it and it's just, we can just see, it's like, wow, you're getting crazier, bolder too with their craziness. Whew, bold and brash. It's like, who buys this? Who's buying into this? Someone must be.
You're talking about... Oh, man.
I feel
Is
for
the
them.
Raven working? Do you know if the Raven's working tonight?
I'm not 100% sure, actually. I don't know. I know he's probably up. Yep, I would say he's probably up by now. Yep.
I'll probably harass him in a bit.
That's
all right,
a good idea.
Lenny, I just wanted to come and touch base with you. And maybe we'll have you on Wednesday's show, Commonwealth for Common Folks, because we need to discuss what is happening with... apparently Ontario is running out of housing stock, so we'll get you on that show for that. Okay.
Okay, sure, sounds good. Fun.
All right, you take care, Lenny. God bless you. Okay.
Bless you, and I'm gonna have fun for the rest of the night listening to your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lenny. Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Correction. Our show. This is our show. Our show. We're here together. Without me, without you guys, I don't exist. So I'm just kind of like talking here and getting people on that want to come on. You could add me on Skype, Mike Martins 1980. It looks like Eduardo wants to come on. I want to get Blunt News on too and get his little piece of the story there. Blunt News, turn on your Skype.
We're here together.
Oi.
How's it going?
Okay, you got your thing working there. Good. You're looking good, buddy.
Thank you. So, what are we going to talk about? Where we're going to be in 2030, or how we're going to get there?
No, I want to know what's really happening. Are we because right now it looks like the world oppressors. Did you take that photo, by the way?
Yeah, it was when I was flying back from Florida about a year and a half ago. That's looking westward, somewhere around just south of Pennsylvania.
Wow, you got to take me on your plane one time, just somewhere. Take me somewhere.
Come to Toronto. We'll go for a fly.
Sure. Okay, Eduardo. Let me ask you. You got Iran and China into deep dive discussions. China's investing $400 billion in return for oil and infrastructure for Iran. And then you got China and Russia in deep dive discussions more than any time ever. What the heck is going on? Are the world oppressors that the Americans said that the world oppressing the world are now unifying?
No.
Okay, what's happening?
Who's going to be the next superpower in
China.
There you go. So China's doing what China's got to do to become the next superpower. The banksters are on board, obviously.
Well, the banks have nothing to lose.
Well, no, they've set this all up, right? So they've got total control over their country. They even grabbed Hong Kong, which basically tied it up nice and tight. They've got total control over their population. They've got this. They've got a small middle class that does very well, and they're gonna. And the cops and the military. They don't have police there. Remember, it's just military, right?
What happened to the Hong Kong police? Are they retired now, or?
I'd be surprised if they haven't joined the Chinese army or what. Find out from your buddy there. Let's see if there's any more Hong Kong police on the street. I bet you there ain't.
Interesting. Hey, I wanted to ask, so if you're not seeing a unification of axis, like of a unification of powers, could China do it on its own?
Well, they've got most of the resources in Africa. They bought all the politicians in the Western world. They've got all the real estate. They've got a lot of real estate and assets in the Americas.
Yeah, Canada, United States. Yeah,
currency.
They own a good portion of Australia, New Zealand.
What's left, really? You got to remember, history repeats itself. Didn't we have this discussion last week?
No, I totally understand that. But what does China need to take? For China to take total dominant control, do they have to take Washington? Do they have to take Israel? Do they have to take Moscow? Like, what does China need to show or to show dominance? They've taken Hong Kong. Do you see Taiwan falling next?
When they've got enough military power to do it, they're going to pull that plug. Watch.
That's concerning.
Right now, it's only the states that are holding them back, and now they got Biden in the back pocket. Sorry, yeah. Biden's son.
But Biden is not cooperating with the Chinese or the Russians.
Yeah. Okay. Theatrics.
So what is that what is the message with that? What is the true message with them not cooperating? Is that prelude to a war, or is that are we talking about the unification of other countries?
It's just more bullshit, baffles brains. Excuse my French. Confuse the people, confuse everyone out there. The backroom deals are being done. We don't even hear about them or know about them. Trudeau's sending money left, right, and center out to China, as are most of our pensions here in Canada. Actually, our CPP pension money has been going over there. For what?
Canada pension money has been going over to China?
Yeah, man.
For?
This happened 2 years ago. The Canadian Infrastructure Bank took money out of the pension plan and shipped it over to China for some kind of projects, along with India for a small project.
Yeah, Canadian pension plan. Over. That's right. Canadian pension plan was invested in affordable housing for India. I remember that. I even covered a story on that.
A little bit, but didn't we buy some, build some power dams or some subways or something out in China or railway lines?
I really don't know, Eduardo. I don't know.
For sure. I know we spent a lot of money. A lot of our pension money went over there. Investments. So yeah, they've got the real estate. We got Vancouver here in Toronto, in what used to be known as Vancouver. They're buying up the oil fields up in Fort McMurray, as are the Saudis.
Why would the Saudis want Canadian oil?
Why not? It's cheap. It's clean. It's bitumen. There's nothing wrong with bitumen. You can use it for roofing. You can use it for plastics. You can use it for certain types of refineries. We'll use a certain amount of bitumen. You can use it for asphalt. It's a resource. Why not? Mm-hmm. Same with the gold mines, diamond mines, metallurgical mines. They're buying up all our resources, and we're letting it happen. We're actually helping them.
But you know what? The funny thing is, Eduardo, while the West goes green, oil's stocking up on resources.
Well, sure, they're not stupid. They know they need it for plastics, just like the previous caller said. Oil's all over our economy. When you got low oil prices, you got huge oil reserves. That's what drives the economy. Petrochemicals, it's huge. Even the drugs, let's see what's in these COVID jabs. I bet you there's even some oil byproducts in there.
Probably. It's funny that you mentioned drugs because the Canadian broadcast channel was the Canadian mainstream government-owned state-run media was actually did a big story on discussing the factories that are owned by the Chinese Communist Party in Shenzhen province that's creating and producing opioids and fentanyl and being distributed on our streets here and smuggled into Canada. And they've been using that money to launder it into real estate. It's on our own state-run media. They're discussing it. The factories and showing photos of them and everything.
Margins are huge. Why not? I'm surprised they're even showing that to us. I'm sure they let that one slip by.
No. You could look it up. It's a really in-depth article. It shows how laundered money gets laundered into real estate through fentanyl sales and through opioid sales and all this other stuff and synthetic marijuana is being sold in California and all that stuff. And that money gets, it even says Chinese gangs investing. The article's there. We even covered it on the channel on trends in the housing market.
And what? The imperialist Chinese are taking over. Learn how to speak Chinese. That's all I got to say. Because most Canadian sheep won't wake up to this fact and don't want to do anything about it. And they'll probably think we're conspiracy theorists, which usually after a certain 10, 20 years turn into be conspiracy fact. Mm-hmm. We're good with the Twin Towers being controlled demolition, I hope, aren't we?
Oh, I'm buddy. Even the day after the first time I saw that, I noticed something wasn't right, like right off the bat. So we got Tanya today saying, Mike, it's all a show. We got Art and Soul saying it's stiff drink time, and we got Linny Poo saying plastic rice. Yeah, plastic rice has been going through. It's been going around for a while. Mr. Singh is saying the Saudis are buying up Alberta oil. Shut it down. The Saudis oil worth more. It could be they're buying it up to shut it down so that, you know what I'm saying, they could get more on the market. You know what I mean, right?
Well, sure. If you can drive the price, it's all based on supply and demand, which is why they had to get Trump out because the states became energy independent. And we lost out big time. Those guys made out like scoundrels on the profits that they made in West Texas, Dakotas, Pennsylvania. I think also is doing... what's that where they pump in fluids into the ground?
Fracking.
Fracking, yeah. So, and the states actually started exporting, and they're also one of the largest consumers, and there's a lot of oil there. Why not? So, yeah,
you're talking about
they got Biden's
all man.
And,
so how's your friend? So, your friend Biden looks like he fell up a flight of stairs 3 times.
Whoa! Did you say my friend?
Oh,
Biden?
sorry, I said that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Mr. Fran said that Biden fell up a flight of stairs 3 times.
What do you want? The guy's old. Oh, wasn't it windy or something?
The Mexican government.
Okay, so now can you comment on what's happening on the southern border? It's getting crazy. Hold on. I got an email. I got it here. I have it written down from last week. I even read it on my show. Okay. It's from Manuel Juarez. He lives in the southern. I'm just reading it from Spanish. Hola, Michael. Buenas tardes. Okay, he's saying that he lives on like 50 meters from the southern Mexican border, where the wall is, like on the southern Mexican border. They're letting in migrants in. Okay, está dejando entrando un montón de gente. So he's saying there's a lot of people coming into Mexico, given information at the Mexican border that they must proceed directly to America.
So much for the first safe country treaties, eh?
But he's saying that there's like anywhere from 300 to 800 people passing through per hour.
Why not? If they're leaving poverty and corruption to go to less poverty and less corruption, why not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But
your parents left
Portugal
because times were tough, right?
Well, because we were under the Salazarian. Salazar was a fascist dictator.
Well, my parents also left former Yugoslavia because of Marshal Tito and communism.
That's right.
So people always got to move to where it's better. It's normal. But I think they're in for a rude awakening.
It's going to be very.
Well, the American economy is not doing that well, and it's going to crash. It's going to tank under Biden and all these policies.
What is his deal? Like, I mean, what's his angle? Because we still don't know what... He's not talking about strengthening the military. He's not talking about strengthening the southern border. He's not talking about creating, like, peace or more of a dialogue with Canada. He's not... He's just causing problems with Russia and China. What's his angle? What does he want? Like, what is his objective? Is he like, what is he for the people? What's this guy's deal?
Okay, we know Democrats are basically socialists, and socialism leads to communism. This is undeniable. True?
Well, no, I'm not going to doubt that one bit, right? But I'm not. But
it's part of his plan.
Why isn't he selling us something? He's not selling us anything. At least other politicians try to sell us a dream. He's just. I don't know if he's tricking or treating.
Well, they're pushing the green economy and the green agenda, which we know it's nuts.
Okay, I forgot. He did mention that, but that doesn't mean anything. Continue.
Yeah, so they got to destroy the economy, and then everyone's going to be saying, "Oh, government, please help me with more fiat currency, so we can be subservient to the government." And this is what communism is. So, what don't you see about it?
I'm just trying to feel. No. I get what you're telling us, but at least you get a song and pony show with every other president, is what I'm trying to say.
No, not this one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This one, there's nothing going on.
No, it is going on. We're going to crash the economy. We're going to tax you to death to the point where your standard of living is next to nothing. Once there's no jobs left, you're going to come begging to the government for handouts, and there we go. Socialism / communism. Right on board with Agenda 2030, which is coming.
But socialism leads to, just like you said, it leads to starvation and mass hysteria and the calling of the weak.
Yep. And the jab is doing it. Those that have a weak mind, that don't want to spend a little time to read the ingredients on the bottle or the papers, informed consent, make it dependent on the state. And if you survive the 4th or 5th round of jab, good for you.
You know what, Eduardo?
6th or 7th.
Eduardo, why would anyone take anything that there's no recourse in the courts, that if something bad happens to you, you can't sue them for it? Why would anyone take anything you can't sue anybody for damages for?
Mikey, you're not watching enough mainstream media. Please, why are you asking these questions? Haven't you been brainwashed?
No, well, if it's illegal, let's say I can't sue McDonald's if I get food poisoning, then why would anyone eat McDonald's? I'm giving an example. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying, let's say I eat carrots from the carrot company, and the carrot company says, you could eat these carrots from us, but if you get food poisoning, you can't sue us. Right there's a red flag right there.
The carrot company will never say you can't sue us. They'll say, these are great carrots, you need to eat more carrots. right? You never hear of the vaccine companies advertising the fact that they're exempt of any liability or damages, do you?
No.
You just hear, oh, this is great. You know, we've found the cure. They created the problem. Now they've got the vaccine, which is supposed to be the cure, and the sheeple are falling for it.
Very interesting.
And it's dividing families also. You know, like half my family is taking it. Half the family says, no way. And there's division inside my immediate family because of this. What do you want?
I don't know. I'm just like, people should be. So, okay, COVID passports, are you going to have to fly me out of the country when I want to travel? Or am I going to have to get a COVID passport to travel?
The thing is, if they bring in these COVID passports, it's discrimination. Is it not?
Yeah, it is.
So we'll see how this one's going to play out. They're probably going to make it to the point where, you know, if you want to get on the plane and you don't have your vaccine, well, everyone's going to start throwing their food at you or something. I can see that coming.
Yeah.
Look how the narrative has changed just in the last week. You've been hearing a lot about reverse racism against the Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that, but it's in the mainstream media. It's starting to show up, you know.
Well, it was right after that thing in what was it, in Colorado, where they had this and this guy went crazy, some shooter or something. You know what I mean, right? And then all these people on Twitter, white men are this, white people are this, terrible white people, blah, blah, blah. Then they had to retract everything because he wasn't white after. It's like...
Was anybody actually shot?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I didn't really follow the story. We could get Lord Humongous. It wasn't too far from where he lives. But,
Lord Humongous was hired as a crisis actor to drive a police car, right?
He wants to ask
there
you.
Was so much nonsense about the video that I saw. I paid like 10 minutes attention to it. It's like, yeah, what a shitty false flag. Guys, you know, Hollywood's just going, oh, what are you guys doing?
Okay,
they
hold up.
Better productions on these false flags.
Hold up. I got something here. Hold on. Lord, somebody was asking you something. Is that a Cessna 130?
182.
I don't know what that means. So that you can land on water? Is it the ones that land on water, or you got wheels?
It's on wheels right now, but I put floats on it for the summer.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So cancer diagnosis. So somebody, Jem Rose in the comments saying cancer diagnosis is a death sentence, but no cure. It was the fake blood supplier. Okay, we got all kinds of weird stuff. There's a lot of weird stuff going through the comments right now. I'm sorry. So, okay, so what's your position right now on the protests in Toronto? What's going on there? What you guys have been doing? Is there a protest coming up downtown? Should we know about?
Well, we've got subversives that have tried to infiltrate the various groups that are pushing the leaderless movement narrative right now. So we know this is people that are involved with heavily involved with the line. So yeah, there's about a dozen good subversives that have done a lot of damage, caused a lot of infighting, created havoc.
So you're telling me that they're implanting people in your group to create trouble so they could shut it down?
Basically, make it look like a shit show so everyone gets pissed off and nobody bothers coming down anymore.
Oh my God.
That's what they're doing. We're going to put a stop to that, though. So Kellyanne Wolf will be a main influencer again. She stepped away for about a week and a half. They tried to kill her. Well, she had food poisoning last week, and they took that opportunity and subverted the large rally we had last week, which was, I heard, between 7,000 and 10,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there, but I was, again, on the sidelines because I seen what was going on because I've been around it for so long. But that will be rectified. We're going to build this movement up again properly. And the subversive.
Well, you guys were peacefully protesting a few 3-4 Mike in the nights ago. You came on after that major protest, and they stole your generator, and they stole a few speakers and a folding table. The police, and they took a girl off stage and carried her off.
That was a couple months ago. Time flies, eh?
Oh my God. I still remember that when you were on the show. You were talking about that, and holy crap!
Well, one of the subversives' brother works for the Toronto Police Force.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that brother has actually been one of the cops that's been involved. It took a while to vet this information, but yeah, it's confirmed now.
Wow. So you got people that that are supposed to be on the right side of things that are actually creating the mess.
Yep. A few people. Most people are good intentioned, well intentioned. They want to do something. They want to do something positive for change. And it will happen. There's enough people waking up, I think. Don't be surprised if we have Rob Carbone as our next leader here in Canada, and he turns this country into a republic, which will probably stir a Chinese invasion.
Yeah, that's another. But we'll have to see. Everyone has a price, Eduardo. You know that.
Not everyone.
So, do you think he's going to be like a? You think he's going to be like a John F. Kennedy or a Ross Perot, where he's actually going to do it for the right thing, for the right reasons?
Yeah, his reasons are good. His intentions are clear. His style is a bit rough. Well, quite rough. But you know what? He doesn't have any kids. He wants to leave a legacy. He's been through the system. He's made a lot of money. I don't think he's been doing quite well lately, but I actually don't know. But he's actually, deeply concerned with what's happening with this country. And he's old enough to know how great this country once was.
Me too. I grew up in the 80s and I saw what it was like. I saw how basically, I still remember, look, if you were 18 years old and you're still living with your parents, there's something wrong with you. I still remember those times.
Mikey, when I was 16, I was making $15 an hour. A new van was $6,000. I bought a 3-year-old van for $3,000. I paid for it in 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Those days were good, Eduardo. You made money hand over fist.
We didn't realize how good they were, though, did we?
Yeah, everything started going downhill everything started going downhill in 1993. That's when everything really started to hit the fan.
Yeah, and like when you were in grade 11 or grade 12, you thought about going to university, you wouldn't even think about asking your parents for tuition money because everybody
worked the summer and paid for the school.
Yeah, you worked in the summer, partied hard on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have a weekend job, and even if you did, you partied hard on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Kids don't do that anymore. They just play video games. Look how we've had our rights eroded over the last year. And people are accepting this.
It's scary. It's very scary.
One word to the wise. Your compliance is making this worse. Just say no, like Chris Sky says.
Can I throw something? Let me. I want to know what your position or what your view is on what's happening in England. Now, they're making it illegal to protest. They're making it illegal to form assembly. They're making it illegal to form any assembly via social media, and they're making it illegal to leave the country. And if you don't have a good reason to leave the UK, you could be fined £5,000.
Did you say UK or North Korea?
No, the United Kingdom.
You sure it's not North Korea?
As sure as my name, it's the UK.
Sure sounds like North Korea.
No, as sure as my name, it's the UK.
Well, they're following in the footsteps of North Korea. What can I say?
I mean, I don't know if you've been watching my videos through the last couple of weeks. I've been talking about this very closely, and it looks like they're gonna privatize and sell off their socialized medicine, their Medicare, the state-run medical is going to be sold off to a private subsidiary. And there's a lot of doctors in protest about that, and they're getting arrested for protesting against it.
You've seen, we have not seen the rallies with not 10, not 100, not 1,000, but hundreds of thousands of people. But it's reported in the media 100 people show up. Meanwhile, these protests are miles long.
And they're pro-Trump protests, too. Even though it's not nothing to do with Donald Trump, they always say a pro-Trump rally.
Come on, Mike, stop spreading fake news.
No, you know what I mean, right? They always say, like in New Zealand, there was a huge lockdown protest a few weeks back when we had Ralphie on, and they're spinning it as a pro-Trump rally.
I'm not buying it. They think,
In
well,
New
somebody
Zealand!
good enough to believe what they read still in the mainstream media. You know, they're complaining about, was it last year, 200,000 people didn't pay their media tax, which pays for the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
They unsubscribed.
Wow.
Well, they're freaking out over that. It's what, a couple $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe more. I don't know. 60 million people in the UK, or is it more?
Well, people are unsubscribing to paying for their media because it's not. Why you want to pay to get something force fed to you?
Why do you have a subscription to Netflix?
Well, I have a subscription to Netflix because I like to watch. I look up 80s movies on there all the time. I saw Terminator 2. I saw, what's that other one? Money Pit. I saw Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, I watch usually old stuff on Netflix.
Well, I don't know. I just got disgusted with it. And I watched actually mainstream media for the first time about 2 weeks ago when I upgraded.
Whoa.
Mike, it was a show of Ellen DeGeneres.
No, it's Ellen DeGeneres.
And it was a new host from CNN, some blonde girl. The studio audience, they took out all the chairs and put in big screens.
For?
Well, the people would Skype in, I guess. So they'd be watching the host, and one guy with a mask on would go with a microphone, go up to the screen with a microphone like it's a real person. Give me a freaking break. And two of the guys were wearing their masks. The host was not. He had a box, big box. And the lady asked for a drink, and out of the box comes a glass of champagne. She grabs it. She says, well, we shouldn't be doing this, but it's after noon, so I guess it's okay. So they're promoting drinking, and just the programming and brainwashing. My goodness, how much are they paying these people? And the trees, how tall of a tree can we find for these people to hang from one of these days?
Oh my God, I don't know. It's just these people like Rachel Maddow, all those people like Whoopi, those people on that TV show, what's it called, The View. They have a different financial income. They have a different financial stability. They have funds. They have a different outlook. They don't have the same financial lens that the average American does, but they love to tell Americans what to do and where to go and what to shop and what to read. But they have a different financial makeup.
Oh, hey. Did you hear they overturned, I believe it was Ireland this week. The churches went to court and they overturned...
Scotland.
Was it Scotland?
Yeah.
Did you cover that one yet?
I'm going to do it right now on the show when I get off the phone with you.
All right. Hey, guys, do whatever you can. The more we talk to our friends and neighbors and just ask questions, don't preach.
Save lives. Ask
pointed questions. And just be curious. Just, approach it, even though you've been red pill, just kind of saying, the other person has not. Think back to when you started to question the narrative. What were the questions that were going through your head? Is this real? And then point people in that direction. Or ask them if it can help you out with, looking at the whole issue. And maybe you just plant that little seed and it'll start to grow. Mm-hmm. We can do this. Everyone, if you talk to one stranger a week, say there's 1,000 of us watching this. Well, there's 1,000 more. Mm-hmm. Then those 1,000 tell 2,000 of their friends, and there's 1,000 more. Why do you think they're clamping down so hard on the censorship, deplatforming?
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, because anyone that goes against the status quo is basically considered an enemy of the state.
And they did a total gaslighting. CBC did a total gaslighting job on hugs over masks. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen that last week or two.
Nope, I don't watch mainstream media, remember?
Well, it's actually on YouTube. CBC, they were talking about, fake information and how they're going to fight to stop it. Mm-hmm. And it was gaslighting 101.
So they're pulling England. They're spinning an England narrative on it, and then you know what they're going to do? Due to the misinformation at these protests, we should not assemble anymore because it's falsely misleading Canadians to their death. And then this way, they shut it down, and just like they're doing in England.
Well, that's what gaslighting is all about, to get you to question what you believe is real and the facts that you know and what you know to be true. They're going to even say the hospital beds that are the tent camp that's being built in Sunnybrook has some kind of real reason. It's not to allow people to die outside, because people will be dying in droves over the next 6 to 18 months when the second round of vaccines shows up.
What wave are we currently in? 4th or 3rd?
0. There's been no wave yet.
I know, Eduardo, but I'm saying, what did they? You watched mainstream media last before I did. Well, you said you watched it last week for the first time.
20 minutes in the last 2 years.
Okay, but they should have said something about what wave we're in.
Maybe the 3rd wave?
Perhaps.
I know they're going to lock down Hamilton next week. So that area is getting locked down. Halton's pretty much open. Toronto's pretty much still closed. You can order takeout, but you can't dine on patios. You can in Mississauga. But last order, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, the patio's got to be shut down. You know, this COVID, it's pretty dangerous after 10 p.m. You know that, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, and it depends on what region of the province you're in. If you're in a specific region like Mississauga and you go over to Oakville, they may have different jurisdictional COVID laws.
You know, in Quebec, they're harassing residents like crazy.
Yeah, Quebec is pretty bad because they don't want to do in-person voting because they're pushing for a snap election. So
election or selection? Oh, have you heard about the lawsuits coming out against certain people that have been slamming Dominion voting systems?
Yeah, I think there was one against the former mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani. He's getting slammed with a defamation suit.
Yep. So they're fighting that one because they want Dominion voting machines to be used. And now that Biden's in
I don't think, now let me tell you my opinion on that. I don't think Dominion has anything to do with this. I think what has to do with it is the programming and the people that are supposed to be watching the machines. Not Dominion, the company. I think it has to do with the people that are on duty there and the people on security that are supposed to follow the specific coordinated measures in an event of a mistake or a blackout of a machine or something. I think it's not really, I think honestly Dominion has nothing to do with it. I think it's the people that are supposed to be in charge of watching over the machines.
There is certain, I wish I would have saved it. There's manuals for the Dominion and how you can alter the votes. Those manuals do exist.
Dude, it's a computer.
So programming.
Sure. No. Like, again, I'm not taking Dominion side. I don't doubt that one bit. But I think it has to do with the people. Like, it's like a gun. A gun doesn't go out and shoot somebody, right? So it's the person using the gun that makes, or the person or the criminal that's using the gun that makes the ultimate decision to pull the trigger. Same thing with the Dominion voting machines, right? And you can find a backdoor to anything on this planet. But the problem is, Eduardo, is who's left in charge to watch over these things?
Liberals, Mike.
Yeah!
It's not who votes that counts. It's who counts the vote that counts. Agreed?
Yeah. All right, Eduardo.
All right. Thank you for having me on. Guys, chin up. Talk to your neighbors. And if they're not red-pilled yet, don't preach. Please don't preach, because then the walls go up. They can't hear it, what you're saying. So pointed questions. Schedule a conversation for another day or two. Make like you're sitting on the fence and look at this, look at that. What do you make of this? What do you make of that? Plant the seed of doubt. They'll come around.
Okay. All right, Eduardo.
Most people are decent and good.
I know.
Thanks, Mike.
God
Good
bless
night.
you. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. That is Eduardo signing off. And from Toronto, giving us an update on what is happening. What is happening? Okay, guys. I hope everyone's doing okay. I want to get our friend on the show here. What do we got here? Really quick here. She tried calling in early. There she is there. She called 44 minutes ago. Let me get her on the show here. Sounds like it's ringing. I don't know if it's ringing.
Hello.
Anna, how you doing?
Oh, hi, Mike. Finally.
Everything
I'm doing.
So is the flooding down? So you're in Australia.
Oh, yes. We're about 3 days of it subsiding, and the bridges are now open. They've blocked off the whole of north of sort of Sydney, and of course there's townships all the way up towards Queensland that have been knocked out by the rainfall. A lot of people don't really recognise what's happened, but within the space of 3 days, they've had almost a metre of rain.
Okay, guys, in the States, a meter is like a yard is just a bit longer.
Oh, how much? Yeah. Well, let's say a yard. Yeah.
A yard. Wow, that's a lot of rain in 3 days. You said.
Yeah, in the space of 3 days. So, what's kind of happened, courtesy of the drought, we haven't got all of the sort of ground swell of the drought's basically dried up the ground, so we haven't got all the moist foliage to take in the rain. So it's just gone straight into the rivers. The rivers have just exploded. They can't get into the ocean fast enough. Everybody that's got townships around a river is basically flooded. A friend of mine got flooded out in Sackville, and he had a pretty hairy time of it. And what's going on at the moment is that it's now subsiding and heading its way towards the ocean, and now some of the beaches are closed because of the septic that's gone everywhere. So we've now got the sort of post problems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody gives a damn about COVID at the moment, or gives a damn about travel. I mean, half of Sydney's pretty much got somebody that's connected with these floods.
Okay. I wanted to ask about the flooding, and then I wanted to ask that in Queensland, apparently somebody was coughing in public. They might shut down the entire area of Queensland.
Wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. I haven't. I've been away for 3 months, travelling all over Australia and seeing some of the reactions that people have had, and different sort of across. Close to New Queensland. I didn't bother with Queensland, but I went inland into Broken Hill, all the way through Broken Hill and all the way down to Adelaide, and experienced all of the lockdowns that occurred once I'd left New South Wales and went into South Australia, and had to have the police check and all of those sort of things. And I got to say, I was the only person on the road. Nobody was getting around, nobody was travelling, nobody was doing anything. And I did find myself in Adelaide where there wasn't any COVID anywhere, and it was all normal, no masks, no nothing, just wandering around. There's a lot of QR code checking into all of the sort of establishments, retail and restaurants and cafes, but it was all pretty bloody normal. I couldn't believe it. And yet I got a cold. And I coughed in the middle of a big shopping complex, and just about every eyeball was on me. It was weird.
Well, and what is happening with? I was going to ask, have you guys had any pro-Trump protests? When I say pro-Trump protests, I mean any lockdown protests.
No, I mean the lockdown protests were happening down in Melbourne, and they were happening in New South Wales as well. But after the Black Lives Matter protest occurred, there was a hell of a lot of the country was divided.
So guys, the Black Lives Matter protest in the United States of America, not only did it divide America, but this is callers from Australia telling us that this is basically happening exactly. They're following the narrative. Aren't people waking up to the fact that China and it looks like Russia and Iran are looking to work together to do something to basically take over the weak?
Oh, good luck to them, I say.
They're more worried
Have you
about
been
this,
to Russia?
and somebody
Have you
said
been to
this.
China?
Did you
Have you been to
identify me as a
Iran?
woman? Like, holy crap.
Good luck to them. I mean, they're just basically looking for any port in the storm. I mean, they've got no friends at the moment. China hasn't got any friends. Nobody, nobody. Everybody's looking at them sideways. They're not. They've lost all of their innocence. The sort of rose-coloured glasses have come off, and the things that they've been doing to Australia, slowly but surely. I mean, my message, I went to China years ago and I kind of came back going, holy crap. And I was very watch out, watch out, watch out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of people going, oh, Chinese are lovely, they're beautiful, they're wonderful, they're terrific, they're this, that, and the other. Well, now I've just got to go boo around China and they're all like on board, so things have really shifted. Everybody's noticing how insidious they are and how awful they are. And they're starting to, this sort of mood is shifting, and it doesn't really matter whether they want our wine and they're going to hit our wine with another.
So guys listening, especially
another 5 years of tariffs, and I've been inside the wine industry. It's fine,
guys. She's talking about the China has imposed. I think it's 1,755 different tariffs and embargoes on Australian wheat, wine, dairy,
barley. It started with barley, but we sold it off to India. Done.
And you know who bought all your wheat?
I don't know. No,
Mexico.
Who bought our wheat? Mexico bought our wheat. Good on you,
They bought all your wheat
for their tortillas.
Now, Anna, I need to ask you this as an Australian, okay?
Okay.
Now that Australia is taking a beating from China with these sanctions, and really, especially during a time when unemployment is at record highs in Australia, is Australia going to turn around and take the knee again for China?
No.
When it comes to economics and exports?
No.
Or is Australia said, we're done with you, China? We're going to deal with the rest of the world. There's a whole world out there.
No. Yeah, we're not taking the knee. What they've been doing is they've done themselves an incredible disservice in this country. And I don't see Australia taking the knee at all.
Because I'm afraid that Scotty Morrison's going to say, like a lapdog running and saying, okay, China, we love you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, look, this whole China's sanction thing is a blip as far as everybody's concerned in Australia. They're more, currently we've got a lot of political rape and sexual assault and sexual harassment cases going on in Parliament, and that's all they're talking about is women's rights and women in quotas in politics and women. So that's basically taking all the oxygen out of the room. And China, I just found out today that they've sanctioned another 5 years in our wine, and what's happening is big advertising campaigns will be going on
and
where they're just basically getting Australians to eat more seafood and drink more wine. Fabulous.
Well, your coal now has been hit hard, and now China is struggling to get coal from Mongolia.
Well, they can, yes, exactly. I mean, we've got a really, we've got beautiful supply chains, and China are basically cutting off their nose to spite their face when it comes to Australia. And at some point, they're going to come unstuck. I see China coming completely unstuck with their attitudes to the way things are. And culturally, and their history is not real good. And I can't see them getting on with Russia. I can't see them getting on with Iran. I cannot see it. They've just got such cultural differences. So they might, do it economically, and, you put up with your neighbour that you don't like. It's like that. I mean, in Australia, we've established the Five Eyes, and, we're in with Canada, we were in with America, we were in with the UK, we're in with New Zealand, and we're in with probably South Africa as well, and quite a few others floating around. And, I think Australia is got a reasonable okay with the South Pacific, and if people had to choose, we'll hang out with the Chinese or we'll hang out with Australia, I honestly believe that they'll go for hanging out with Australia. Mm-hmm. And I sort of think, yay, come on China, come on down, buy us out, and then we'll just kick you out.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Renegotiate the rules as you go along. That's good.
Yeah. I still, I'm still a, lab born. That none of what has happened over the last year has made any sense other than when we originally talked about it being coming from the lab, and the fact that they locked down the whole of Wuhan. They allowed all of those international flights. It's just so bloody wrong.
Well,
So
look. If you're an investor and you're buying real estate in Australia, you don't have to quarantine. You know that, right? And if you're flying into Canada, no problem. You don't have to quarantine in Canada and stay in a hotel if you're buying Canadian real estate.
everybody that's coming in is quarantining for 2 weeks in Australia. That's mandatory. And even if you're an investor, I mean, that's $3,000. These properties are $1 million plus.
Yeah.
And so it's no biggie. It's a couple of weeks in a hotel, done. They catch up with all of their Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Now, Anna, let me ask you something. Let's go just slightly off topic. I know that feminism was a pretty, the dark side of feminism has been a very dark movement in the last 3 years in Australia. What has it done? Are you starting to see some of the recourse and damage, or it was still early to tell? Because I know there's a lot of damage happening, and I've heard a lot of women are being single now in their 40s and 50s. What's happening in Australia in that scene?
I'd safely say Australia is probably one of the most, out of all the Western English-speaking countries, the most misogynistic country in the world. Mm-hmm. And I was having a few drinks with somebody that's kind of in the women's movement, and she sort of was saying that the women are now really fighting back. I'm not sure about the whole quota thing. I still don't believe in that. But there is going to be a shift, because the men are starting to kind of get scared. We've got a lot of men now that are very, very nervous. They're nervous of past indiscretions that they've gotten away with, and we've brought up a dying woman's letter of rape. Our Attorney General, he was 17 at the time, she was 16, something like that, and she wrote in a letter that she was raped by this now Attorney General. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of Me Tooing going on, and there's a lot of women standing up. We've had a society of women basically had to grin and bear it. So it will shift. There's a lot of the Me Too movement started it off. Women started having a go, not getting anywhere, but there's a few of them haven't gotten anywhere. But there's a lot of legitimate cases going on, and I think the momentum's about to really get some traction. I think finally there's some traction. Shift is occurring, but once again, it's a little bit like most things. It's newsworthy for a while, and then something else takes its place, and right. Then you just don't know what's going on. So, but at the moment, it's gaining some traction, and I think some changes will be made. But I'm not sure if the Liberal Party over in Australia. A Liberal is the opposite to Liberal in America. So the Liberal would be the red Conservative, I suppose, and the Labor would be the blue Liberal. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, we're all kind of back to front, which makes it a bit tricky to figure out. But our Liberal Party don't believe in quotas. We believe in, they believe in equity, like ability, competency, mm-hmm. Not quotas. And that's what I believe in as well. I don't want to see a woman getting placed in a position just because she's making the numbers.
Yeah,
it's not that very good.
In Canada, they hire people that barely speak any English to fill the government jobs, and then when you need to get something done, they look at you and call you a racist.
I know, it's horrible. Yeah, we've got that here too. Yeah, we've been putting up with that for years and years and years and years. But there's an antidote to everything. It's like I had to tell everybody like if you get somebody you can't understand, hang up, try again. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Don't persevere. Just hang up, try again. Hang up, try again. You're bound to, get somebody that speaks English, And they're just not going to get the calls. I mean, they are being monitored, all these call centres, and the non-English speakers are getting sort of put into non-English speakers. So they're kind of getting better at connecting the Chinese person to the Chinese person that wants to get job seeker and wants to get some sort of, you know, government help or whatever it might be. They're sort of I spent some time with someone that actually works inside the government, inside all these call centres, and they've got, you know, people that'll help with the Aboriginals. They've got people that'll help with the Muslims and that kind of fraternity, and they've got different people for, you know, to help all the different nationalities. And they just kind of flicking them sideways and moving them around inside the call centres, whereas before they wouldn't do that.
Right.
So you had to persevere. It was horrible.
My favorite is when I call a call center and I need something to get done. They pass me through to somebody else when they don't, and then they pass me through to somebody else. One time I got passed through about 2 weeks ago. I tried to cancel my cable bill because I went with another, not cable, but my internet. I went with another provider.
Yeah.
Man, they passed me through 13 people. And finally, one person said, I'm like, I've been on this call for 2 hours. Can you cancel? Like, what do I have to do? Do I have to drive there and cancel it? Or, yeah.
There's no physical space anymore. This is the problem. You can't go anywhere. They're all, you know, online. They're all working from home in their slippers. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't go to a physical building and just, you know, raise merry hell. Look, in my case, you know, I've been on the line, transferred on the line, transferred on the line, transferred, did all of that, and found myself hung up on.
I love that part, when they hang up on you.
Oh,
I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Anna. It was good talking. It's been a whole 16 minutes now. And thanks for giving us the updates on the next time in a week or two, we're going to call again and we're going to ask about what's happening with that whole sanctions, if there are any updates on the sanctions and what's going on, and try and see if you could find out about that military airstrip that's in the middle of Australia that's owned by China.
Yeah, that's a bit of a furphy. I mean, seriously, people have got to just drive across Australia and realise how empty the place is.
Yeah.
You know, how ridiculous the place is. Mm-hmm. I mean, you drive for 5 hours and you don't get a petrol station. You've got to be really careful when you're going in the outback. That military strip, it's probably just it's probably just like a graded piece of nothing. All right,
fair enough.
I need to say something though. When I was in Broken Hill, and this is in the middle of the COVID, you know, pre all of that with lockdowns going on and everything else happening, and Melbourne in strife, I encountered at the Living Sculpture Desert 3 busloads of Korean tourists.
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
Why?
I don't know.
You should have.
I'm thinking, how the hell did they get
stopped.
there?
You should have stopped and say, "Hi, I'm with the Australian recruitment for
I took a photo
recruitment for forensics, and I'd like to ask a few questions." And and flash your driver's license real quick.
The bus drivers looked like they were from Samoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I didn't find an Australian in the 3 busloads of groups.
Weird. Very weird.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't, I was like,
pictures?
How the hell? I took a photo. Yeah, I took a photo of them all coming up into the sculpture park.
Interesting.
But yeah, I should have taken more photos. But it was just, you kind of, in the middle of something in your own headspace, and I was literally about the only person there, and all of a sudden I'm being invaded. It's like ants coming out of the nest. You make a run for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I did.
Run to the hills. All right, Anna Key, it's been a pleasure. God bless. Thanks for coming on, and we'll talk soon.
All righty. Bye.
God bless. Bye.
Bye.
That is Anna Key out of Australia, and the flooding looks like it's subsided. They got, in 3 days, a yard of rain. 1 yard. 1 meter. 1 meter is less than a yard. I mean, a yard is longer than a meter, but still. Woo! Okay, who we got here? We got Supreme. Looks like he's back on right now. Coming to the show a little bit late. Let me see if the Raven picks up the phone. Yes. pick up the phone, man.
The man. You're talking about all man.
Well, Raven's not picking up his phone. I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay. So let's go really quick over a little bit of headlines in the news and what's going on. Amazon denies workers were forced to pee in bottles, then people brought receipts. People brought the receipts. And you'll see a bunch of bottles. Where are the bottles? It doesn't... So the bottles of urine were left all over the place, and people are getting disgusted by it. Now in India, we got something going down in India, especially with the protests cutting across party lines. House panel tells government to give an effect of 1 out of 3 farm laws. The stated position of the most of these parties is against all 3 laws. Congress wants them repealed. So this is the biggest protest probably in the last, I don't know, couple of 100 years that have record. Several million, they're saying close to 200 million people were in protest in India total at one point. Saudi Arabia carries out attacks after tens of thousands rally across Yemen on war anniversary. So now if this was happening, let's say in Australia, this was happening right here, this would be a pro-Trump protest right here today. They would not label this, but there it is. So Saudi Arabia carries out attacks. So there it is right there. The demonstration while making donations to Yemen armed forces announced that the decisive victory of the troops of the Saudi-led coalition of aggression is now closer than ever. So we got all kinds of Middle East uprising. There's lots of uprising happening in the Middle East. And guys, this is scary stuff when you see it happening. And the people protesting and look at that. Well, so much for Covey in that one, eh?
You're talking about all man.
All right, speaking of all man, we got get ready to become a digital asset of the globalists' great reset. The World Economic Forum was reporting few are aware but a digitalization of the human race is advancing at breakneck speed. Don't look now, but the world is racing down a path that has been interlinked with the landmines of control and surveillance, and yet almost no Western politician of any party seems concerned enough to talk about the impact this will have on personal privacy. Not a single... And there's that little cute sweater. Ah, Bill Gates, these beautiful sweaters.
You're talking about all man.
So the Rebel News is reporting Trudeau spent $7 million on renovations at his Harrington Lake home in 2020. Oh man.
The man.
All right. So we got Robinhood. This is coming from Forbes. Robinhood trader may face $800,000 tax bill. Guys, I've already told you this. We talked about this on Commonwealth for Common Folks. You have to understand the taxation of buying and selling and trading stock and understanding how to display it on your taxes. My accountant every year gets an update report on my personal stock trades and all that stuff. So now take a look at this. Take a gander at this. You're not going to believe this. Buddy, right here. This tax consequences are now manifesting for new investors. In one jaw-dropping case, Robinhood newbie is facing a potential tax bill of $800,000. That's 800 large. $800,000 despite only making $45,000 in net trading profits. The individual also earned $60,000 at his day job. So he made $45,000 trading stock, probably going to the bar, buying a few drinks for a couple of girls, telling them that he's a high roller. He made 45 large in the stock market, and now he's got a tax bill of 800 large. They always find their way to get it from you. Okay, guys, I got some really good stuff. So I want to get a little bit of clapping here. Clapping and cheering. Clapping slow. Clapping short. Clapping short. Okay, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, and Michelle Obama group push bill that would ease voter ID requirements. Okay, you know, I was in Mexico when they went through voting season. Like they were for I think it was Vicente Fox was running for president, if I recall. I was in Mexico for a while, and they were going into the voting system. Now, during elections, during voting time, like there's a window of I think 4 days to vote or 6 days to go in and vote. Your bars are not allowed to open. People are not allowed to consume alcohol. They're not allowed to sell alcohol. Apparently, you're not supposed to drink during the voting procedure. Like, you're not supposed to drink at all. So you can't go to a bar and buy drinks. Tourists can. Tourists could buy drinks and stuff, but locals are not allowed to drink during election time, like the 1, 4, or 5 day window of going to vote. Now, you have to. I was talking to my friend who is one of the vice presidents of one of the big prisons in Guerrero, Mexico. And he was telling me that to vote, if you go in and try to vote without ID, they'll ask you that you require ID, and you need biometrics in Mexico to vote. And if you're not on the list to vote, you can't vote in Mexico. So, and not only that, you have to be like, you can't get a haircut a day before or something. I remember some kid talking to his mom that wanted to cut his hair, and he's like, "No, you can't. We gotta go." The kid was like 22, but the mom was older. He's telling us, you're gonna go vote. After you vote, you cut your hair so they know it's you. It's like, holy crap! Yes, that's how serious Mexico takes voting. Okay, so there it is right there, and it's really scary how they're easing up on voting requirements. It's like getting someone else to take your driver's license, like to go in and drive your vehicle during your driver's license test. Like, I mean, there's no, like, it doesn't make any sense if you can't prove who you are. So that would ease voter requirements. That's it right there. I just can't believe people are doing this. And exclusive, border authorities released 2,000 migrants into U.S. without notice to appear in court. COVID in Scotland, places of worship can open now after court win. Yeah, all you have to do is take them to court, start suing people. And then we got here, BBC's reporting, U.S. military drops the... This is old. Why are they showing this? Stuff from like 10 years ago. And so I went to Zero Hedge. I was looking at different stories here too. What else have we got here? I want to cover this tonight too. Cabo Delgado, attack... Oh, it's in Portuguese. Attack of armed militants near a natural gas station here. So there it is. This is in Portuguese. I was watching this. This is really scary. And I'm kind of grateful a lot of you guys out there don't speak Portuguese, because this is what this lady is talking about, what has been happening. Now, let's go over this real quick here. So let's go over this really quick. So here it is right here. Mozambique, the Portuguese Africa, insurgency, Islamist militants ambush workers fleeing hotel. So what's going on with fleeing hotel? Well, a bunch of workers in a nearby natural gas site ran to a hotel for cover because they were under attack by Islamist militants. And then they've been basically outside the hotel waiting for anyone to go out and basically start shooting down people. So here's Palma. I'll show you where it is. Palma is up here, and the capital of Mozambique is down here. It's Maputo. It's right here. This used to be called Lourenço Marques. And all the biggest natural gas right here where the mouse is showing it, right here is where you have the biggest natural gas, one of the biggest natural gas reserves on the planet, right here in this area. And let me tell you guys, and this insurgency has been going on since 2017. Now, this lady tells a story Now, this, I'm not even going to talk, I'm probably not even allowed to talk about what happened here, is absolutely horrendous. We're talking about dismantling the locals in that area in pieces and distributing them to people's homes, body parts. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. It's phenomenal. I don't even know what to tell you guys.
Onde é que estavam? Deixaram onde?
Deixaram casa de mamã para ir a ver bem mamã para quando voltarem aí no mato.
So they left a piece of her mother on her porch to show her daughter.
Agora fazeram
E a
assim.
sua mãe viu.
É, minha mãe vinha. Até aqui não fica bem essa na minha nessa cabeça.
So her mom saw the body parts in front of her house. And they've been distributing body parts of family members around. You guys have no idea what's happening. I don't have any idea what's happening. And that's why we're here tonight. It's beyond. It's just beyond. And of all places, Portuguese Africa. And Mozambique was so neutral. And it's almost like it's all allowed to happen. All right, let's go through a quick channel plug here, guys. I want you guys to... Quick channel plug before we got another hour and 20 minutes in the show. We're going to get some more callers to call in. You know, once in a while, we got to cover some real news, too. Guys, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, be part of the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to next week's show, Accountability Time. Whose fault is it anyway? Whose fault is it anyway? Would like to know. Don't forget to buy something on Teespring if you guys are bored and want to get something from Mike in the Night. We got all kinds of cool stuff. We got leggings. We got everything. Do not bother sending me any messages in Facebook. Facebook is not allowing. I have 114,000 followers, and anytime someone messages me, the message gets retracted by Facebook. So this is the last post I put on Facebook. Over 180 people trapped in Mozambique hotel after ISIL attack and Mozambique news. So, and I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. And guys, if you want to send me show tips, please send them to me on Instagram. Send me this on Instagram. Do not send nothing on Facebook. Message me on Instagram what you want to send me. Don't send it on Facebook because Facebook is retracting messages. Artbydano.com. Don't forget to check out Art by Dano. Not your typical art. We got prints going in the cheap low teens. And Dano could work on shipping depending where you are. He could ship anywhere in the world. Comment below. Let me know if you've bought anything. I got some cool stuff from Dano myself. And I'm actually going to place an order soon. He's got some Star Wars stuff on the works. I want to see it. I know he did some Mandalorian stuff, so I look forward to seeing that. Ralphie, 24/7 radio station, Mike in the Night replays here. He is raising money here. Guys, if you want to donate to ralphie.co.New Zealand and get the radio station off the ground, let's get more people listening and part of it. I was listening to it on my Wi-Fi there, and not my Wi-Fi, my Bluetooth in my car. But I had my Wi-Fi on. Not my Wi-Fi, my data on. My data for radio is really cheap. I could run data on the radio really cheap. So I could run my data all day on radio. But on video, gotta watch out for that. The VWAP is asking, Dano, can you make a Buster Douglas printing? I think he has Muhammad Ali a few times. I went through his, go check out his artbydano.com. And see what he's got there. I think he's got Muhammad Ali, and I think I saw Mike Tyson. I'm not sure, but I think he's got one there. It looks pretty good too. Okay. All right, we had Eduardo on the show. You know what? I want to get Blunt News. I want to see what Blunt has to say. Like, Blunt News is very important to get on the show because he usually has some good information he wants to share with us. Yeah, that ISIS thing, or ISIL, or whatever they're called this week, the flavor of the month. This whole thing, guys, is really, really depressing. on what's happening with this distribution of body parts being dropped off at families' homes. And Blunt Muse is not answering. Let me see who else we got. You know what? We got art by Dano. We got Ralphie, who knows how to make music. You guys have me as a mouthpiece. Man, we could actually put something real good together. You know, if we actually worked like in collaboration as a team. I think Ralphie, or Dano, me, and a couple of Blunt Muse said he can't. Playing Battleship with my son. Okay, sorry about that. All right, I wanted to get on. Who was it that was waiting on the sidelines here? All right, there's somebody that wants to come on at 9:20 our time to discuss something. 9:20 our time, wanted to come on the show because he's at work right now, but he wants to call in and make it different. Yeah, I know. Supreme is messaging saying that Blunt cannot come on. Okay, so I want to let's crank call the Raven. Let's see if he picks up his phone. I really want to talk to the Raven because come on, pick up the phone, Raven. He's probably sleeping. He's not in the comments. He's not available. Ladies and gentlemen, the Raven has left the building. Wow. It looks like Rex Cohan wants to come on the show. Let's see if he picks up.
Hello.
Hi, is this Rex Cohan?
Yeah, it's Rex Cohan.
Yeah, I saw you try to call me earlier while I was on the phone with Eduardo. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, Mike. It's been a long time since I was on your show.
Yeah.
And I listen all the time, and I just want to let everyone know that, I really enjoy listening to Supreme Cannon, Eduardo, and the guy from Manitoba.
The Raven.
The Raven. I love listening to them, and your news is like the source of truth for me. But I have a few things to say. First of all, it's the Canadian house prices. I just want to kind of dive into that. I know this is kind of a mixed bag of what I'm going to talk about. I don't know if they're going to be coming down anytime soon, Mike. I just see that there are a lot of people coming here with money from Asia specifically, and
China.
And if that doesn't stop, our Canadian demographics are definitely going to be impacted. And I'm disappointed
it is
in
being
that.
impacted because one of the major reasons why our borders closed with the U.S. It's the same reason why the state, or sorry, the province or the state of Victoria in Australia was closed. You couldn't leave the province of Victoria because there was a mass exodus of people leaving the state of Victoria in Australia. And if they reopen the border here in Canada, Rex, I'm going to be straight up with you. I got 20, maybe 30 emails this week, okay, from people that are going to leave Canada to the U.S. the second the border opens.
Yeah, and
they're doctors, and they're physicians, they're pediatricians, veterinarians. They're like, Mike, I'm done with Canada. It's like we're gonna see a massive brain drain if that border reopens. I think what's gonna happen, the COVID is gonna remain in Canada, but in the U.S. it's gonna be completely open like it is right now, and nothing's going on, right?
Well, I was at my dad's today, and I had we had moose burgers today actually, and I was at my dad's today. And we're talking about the variant, and like cases are rising. My dad, he's 70 years old. He's retired, and he was watching, I think, CTV News, and we watched the big that issue that happened in North Vancouver today on the news, and I was like, Dad, this COVID variant, we're on the third variant now, and now we're seeing a lot of cases rising, and it's like, are the lockdowns going to continue, and is there going to be a fourth lockdown? And it's just so ironic that it happened when, the people of Hong Kong, France had the yellow vest protesters. England
The
had a lot of
timing, the timing was just so perfect for
yeah,
it.
it's just it's so bizarre. And then we're like, I'm thinking now, no, now England is making some new regulations where
Dude,
you can't gather and you can't
England is so bad right now. I'm going to get someone on the show from England, hopefully in the next week or so. I know it's 3 a.m. there, but the problem with England, let me tell you something. You can't leave the country. They're making it illegal to leave the country. And if you do get caught trying to leave the country, you can get fined £5,000. And you could read it. It's on the BBC. You could look it up. It's right there for people to see. And they're shutting down their freedom of speech. And you know what? You want to know something? If I actually organized a protest in England via my show, they have the grounds to come here and arrest me in Canada.
I know, and Mike, protect your family first. Don't even go there. If don't talk about that on your show. Your children are worth more than worth more than anything.
I know,
you and your wife. So just stay cool though. But I just want to get back to the whole protest thing. It's now that we can't kind of freely gather together and talk about civil things, like when we gather, because we can't gather. And sometimes when we talk about civil things, we want to demonstrate against a government or government policies. And now they made it so difficult for us to do that. And this whole thing kind of goes back to Asia and China specifically. I sometimes I wonder now, Mike, were we all set up, like all the manufacturing moved over into the East, and now Biden's in the administration, and now nothing is manufactured really in Canada and the United States. Canada is a source for raw material.
But we're not even getting wealthy off the raw material. We're selling off the land to the Chinese. The Chinese don't even hire Canadian hires to work on that land, and they exported raw back to China.
Yeah. So what happens is they harvest maybe our lumber, and then they take it back to either China, or some of our lumber actually goes to the United States, where they will manufacture, lumber out of the logs, or paper out of it. I know there's a few pulp mills around here, but or make furniture out of it, and then it gets shipped back to Canada. And our oil, the same thing happens to our oil in Alberta, right? It goes to the United States, and from heavy crude, they'll make oil out of it. So like, we're not manufacturing anything in Canada. But I also heard an interesting theory was that Canada, there could be, I'm not sure if this is true. How I talked to a lot of people, we were brainstorming, like Canada is not as populated as many European or American countries. And some people are saying that Canada may attract the wealthy Europeans as well. They may leave Europe and come to Canada because it's not populated. So then you'll see a push in prices from rich Europeans.
Well, there's an issue with that. European immigration closed in 1993. Europeans just can't come to Canada.
Yeah, then that might not be a possibility.
No, that will never work. In 1993, Canada stopped all European immigration in its tracks.
Well,
zero.
Well, I'm disappointed in all this because, I did get a university education. I went to university for like 7 years. I totaled my university career last 7 years. And, actually my dad and my grandfather were in the lumber industry here in North America. They're heavy into lumber, and, they told me, my dad told me, go get a university education, do something else, don't be a millwright or a mechanic. So I did, right? And now I'm raising my children, and now I'm thinking, okay, university degree is like 300 today's prices. It's almost like $300,000 for a basic degree, and now you need it specialized, and then you need more schooling. And I'm looking at my children now. I'm not even sure if a university degree will return the investment back to them, right?
Well, if you listen to Hillary Rodham Clinton, it's the best thing you could get, and you can make an extra $1 million in your lifetime.
No, I don't think so. Way these house prices are, it's like it's not even worth it. It's worth it. Like, you want to go through the stress of getting the degree, like you might as well go on CERB, relax and chill out. Sit down somewhere on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, have a coffee, or somewhere, enjoy your life, because I don't think there's a real incentive for people to work hard if home prices are so high. And I can't believe the American and Canadian, the North American governments combined, they're not doing anything about this.
Well, they're not supposed to do anything about it. They're supposed to basically shut us down financially, verbally, economically, educationally, because a lot of the stuff people learn in school nowadays, or a majority of the stuff they learn, doesn't apply to any diddly squat that's happening in today's times.
Yeah, so it's just a major disappointment what's happening with our home prices. It's a major disappointment. I thought by now there could have been a correction. I've been in the market, in the real estate market, since 1999 or 2000. I bought my first home after I graduated university around in the year 2000. So I kind of was okay, because that time home prices weren't that high. And now I'm looking at my children, because you know what? Whatever just like your breath, when you breathe in, right, you got to breathe out. You can't hold in your breath forever, or you're going to die. Even like if I have a home, or if I have a belonging or material possession, I can't hold on to it. Like, I do want to give whatever I have to my children, but it's just like, how are they going to continue to fund it or have that same life cycle, that lifestyle, if our living wages don't keep up to what we need for necessities?
Well,
like
upper average wage earners are now out of the mix. Now we're going to low wealthy.
Yeah.
Low rich are now getting affected. So when I started my channel in 2010, the lower poor it was minimum wage workers were having a really tough time renting an apartment. And back in the 80s and 90s, everybody rented an apartment. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, everybody did. Yeah.
And then in 2010, the middle class is pretty much gone. The average and the middle class now, not the low wage, not the minimum wage, now the average and the middle class are gone. Now it's the low wealthy that is being attacked right now. At the bottom of the more wealthy sector of people are being now under attack.
So you know what's happening, Mike? We don't live in this world. It's like, let's just say about 20 years ago, or in our parents' generation, this world was defined by countries. Like the country, the government that ran the country per border. Canada was different than the United States. United States was different than England. England was different than Egypt. Egypt was different than China, and so on, right? But now we live in a world, and they still have all the borders there, right? But we live in a world defined by corporations, and it's the corporations now that run the world. So today we actually live in one world, per se, government run by corporations. So all these corporations, they've all shifted to China. Nike, Apple, most products are made in China. Most products are made in China. Most things all our homes are made in China. All our technical gadgets, Walkmans there's no more Walkmans, but
I know what you mean.
Headphones, everything's made in China, right? All our manufacturing is there. And so the corporations are funding this. Heavy tech, right, is funding this. Manufacturing is funding this. So it's like, I just can't believe I just can't believe how stupid our governments would be to shift all our manufacturing over there. And now, you know what? It's not going to come back.
Okay, hold on.
It's just not.
Hold on. Let's go over a graph that I put up, okay? So this is going to correlate to what we're talking about, okay?
I can't see the graph, though.
No, I'm going to read it to you. 2 days ago, I put up a poll for people to vote. And 2 days ago, it got 485 votes. And the sentence starts off by saying, my country is becoming more. And then first says communist, 57%.
I participated in that, yeah.
Yeah, 57% communist. Democratic, 3%. Socialist, 23%. Monarchy, 1%. And fascist, 16%. If almost 500 people voted from across the Commonwealth and we're getting back more communism than anything else, and then socialist second, fascist third, and then Democrat fourth at 3%, and then monarchy at 1%, dude, this is painting a very dark picture.
Yeah, it is. And in your poll there, Mike, it's an accurate poll that reflects random effects, shows opinions of everybody. And just going back to the whole thing, like right now, the United States, right? Biden is the president. It looks like, they say it's democratic, but there's a tinge of socialism there with, I know that some minorities are getting free money for some kind of free. I think somewhere in California, people are getting free money, and basically the United States, it's just watching Biden fall down the stairs a couple of weeks ago.
No, he fell up the stairs.
Yeah. Oh shit! Watching him fall up the stairs a few weeks ago, and then I just can't believe how. Okay, I got friends from I got cousins, actually, families from in a different country, long distance family, right? And they all looked up to the West, and now they're not really they don't have that same kind of opinion of the West. They still love the West, but it's not. It doesn't have the same pizzazz as it did 40 years ago, 30 years ago. I think, especially in Canada and the United States, it's very disappointing how everything got shifted over to China. I don't want to say this again, but it's just so it impacts the future. And my children are here. They're the fourth generation Canadians in my family, and I'm very disappointed because my father and my grandfather, they worked hard. I worked hard in this country too, right? I'm still working hard, and I thought it'd be obviously nothing is free, but everything you have to work hard for. And I worked hard. My parents worked hard. My grandparents worked hard, but our children are gonna doesn't matter what stage of where you are in the economic ladder, your family, children are going to have a tough time. And
big time.
Our responsibility now is just to help them. Obviously we got to pay attention to what's happening in the geopolitics, especially in Canada. But the main goal is to help them spiritually, to make sure that they're always spiritually intact. Whether religion, doesn't matter the religion, but just teach them the basic spiritual principles of, how to be happy, how to write a gratitude list in the morning, right? Be grateful for everything, right? Pray when you wake up, and at the end of the night, say thanks, right? Do a little bit of meditation, abundance meditation, right? There's a lot of things that are just miracles. If you look at the forest, teach them those basic things, because what also happens is the technology from the technocratic system, when you're playing games and video games, it takes away all of that, right?
It does.
You want instant gratification, so you got to kind of separate the technology and get back to some of the basic teachings, those spiritual teachings, because money's not going to do it anymore. And buying a house, right, it still can be done, right? But it's going to take a lot of money now. So everyone should just kind of focus away from the money and go back to some basic spiritual principles. And that's what I'd like to say about that. But I do want to switch to the Suez Canal. I have a feeling, I'm not sure, Mike, and I know this sounds outrageous. I've been looking for an article, but it could have, was it deliberate? I don't know. But but now that the containers are all stuck in the Gulf there, prices of supplies are going to go up, and price of oil is going to go up too. So not just our lumber is up, I don't know, 70%, but now everything is going up. And then talking with you from a private standpoint, we also discussed that sooner or later food prices are going to go up.
We're going to be priced out of food. Middle class will be. They're going to start training us how to eat cardboard.
Yeah, cardboard, but I heard that. So just on a side note, some of those veggie burgers or some of those, I'm not sure. Those veggie burgers, they do taste like cardboard.
Plantaroni. They have this new pepperoni that's made out of plants. It's called plantaroni.
I love meat. You and I know I go hunting, right? So, last year I got one moose, a whitetail, and I got a mule. I just got wild game in my freezer, right? And I can't imagine eating a grasshopper burger, or that's what Bill Gates is.
I love grasshopper burgers.
Are you kidding
Mexico?
me? There's no way that I could do that. I first of all, back to some of the spiritual principles. I like to go hunting because it gets me away from all this news. I actually go camp. Like this year, when I spent 2 weeks in the snow camping, hunting for moose, right? And I like to do that with my brothers and some of my cousins. And when I do that, it just takes me away from the city or the town I'm living in. I'm in the woods, and I have my brothers. We have a simple camp. We have a real simple camp, and we just go hunting. Right? We follow tracks. I did that for 2 weeks for moose, and hunted another 2 weeks for deer. But I want to do that with my son. Go back to some basic spiritual things, and or basic lifestyle things like hunting and fishing. I know you took your son and daughter fishing last year, and so that's I want to mention. I want all the users to know that. Focus on basic spiritual principles for the next generation, so they
Play
can
more
attain
board games with your family.
Yes, right. Because what's going to happen is ADHD and depression and all that. That all stems from video games and not being unhappy and wanting money so you can buy something to match your neighbors. But if you have a good spiritual foundation, you can teach your children to always be grounded. And being grounded is very important. And back to the Middle East. So I know I'm jumping a little bit. Back to the Middle East, containers, food prices. So you were talking about food prices going up. You talked that with me a couple of weeks ago. So where are we living now? And I always ask Supreme Canon or Eduardo, to speak more about this, because I don't know, because I always want information from your callers. And so, Mike, I ask you, where's all this going, this dystopian future? Where are we going? If food prices are going up, if there's going to be a food shortage, what does that mean? And I also listen to Alaskan Prepper now. Since he came on your show, I joined his show too.
Good.
So I'm watching some of his stuff. But Mike, how dire is this? Are we in a stage where a warning should be issued, or can we survive this? Where are we, Mike?
We will survive. Good always prospers in the end. It could take time. It could be, the good. We always win in the end. It doesn't matter how long, but we'll be alive to see it. I don't know. How long could this go on for? I have people telling me, I had someone earlier telling me, Mike, in a couple of months, it's over. People are going to be done with this in a couple of months. People have had enough. I want to thank the Crow for sending me $13.99 Canadian. He says, I'm in the new bird town. I'm the new bird in town. Sorry. He's like, I think the Crow is new to our channel, so he's the new bird in town. Okay, continue. So no, that's what I wanted to tell you. That's what I wanted to say is that we will win in the end. We will prosper.
No, will it be us that will do okay, we are part of the fight now, but will the war be won when our children are, our children are the same age? Will the war be won?
But this has been a long drawn out. This started in 2010. This economic dystopian, everyone says it started in 2008 when there was a correction in the housing market and Goldman Sachs. No. This started in 2010.
Yeah.
And this is when the real economic takeover started, in 2010. And now
2010 happened in Vancouver and Toronto, but now the same thing's happening in the States right now. Like we're a little bit
Amerifornia is happening, yes.
Yeah, Amerifornia is happening now.
It's catching up.
And I think it's people are expecting in Amerifornia, house prices maybe drop next year. No, if you're going to use Vancouver and Toronto as a case study, be prepared for home prices to continue to go up for the next 5 years in Amerifornia.
Amerifornia is going to go up 100% in a lot of areas. There's some places in Arizona in the last 2 months that went up 32%.
So let's think about this. They're making housing unaffordable. Energy is going to be unaffordable.
Yes, carbon tax. Now Amerifornia is coming faster because carbon tax is going to be introduced now because Biden was saying, look at Canada, how good they are with their carbon tax and their carbon footprint.
So housing, energy, and then you mentioned food is the next one, right?
Well, that's all we have left now is food.
Yeah, food. So I don't know, like prepare ourselves, know how to hunt. I'm into fishing from a recreational standpoint, but I just enjoy hunting much more. And I think if you can get some acreage, get into the maybe agriculture business, grow some crops, try to sell them, try to learn about farming. And it's been, there's a lot of good farmers in many places of North America, but really great farmers. But most of the next generation, they forgot that simple skill of planting a seed, knowing when to water it, when to harvest it, because now everyone's involved in technology. They want to know how to program, if then else.
Right.
And it's one thing about your show is that some of the callers, like I mentioned them before, they're really bright. This is one of the better shows on YouTube. You've done a really great job, Mike. I know I haven't called in a long, long time, and I really appreciate this.
I saw you trying to call me earlier when I had Eduardo on. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call him after. I promise I'll call him after.
Thanks. Yeah, Mike, I just don't know. Like, if we can get someone on and if we can talk about where is this going, like, are we going to win this war in our
Eventually we will win. Like, at birth, we're programmed with certain things at birth, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's going to get to a point where people will start, even several generations on the road, and say, you know what? You try to pull the wool over our eyes the last 20, 30, 40 years. Yeah, we're not going to fall for it again. I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but I don't think it's going to be in our lifetime. That's the thing.
Could be in our kids or in our kids' kids.
Grandkids, maybe.
Yeah, when the war is won.
The Gen VBDs.
Yeah, but the thing is, now with Agenda 2030, you will own nothing and be happy. Like, get a load of this. Like, why would someone dictate how I will be happy? Happiness is, I own my own happiness. Like your heart. You own your heart. I own my heart. I own my thoughts. You own.
Hello?
I own my happiness.
Right.
I don't want someone else to tell me how to be happy. And I think that was Charles Schwab, right? Part of the UN 2030 agenda, who said, you will own nothing and be happy. It's like he's pointing a finger at me and telling me how to be happy.
Dude, you want to get scared? Watch mainstream media for 30 minutes and tell me how you feel.
Yeah, I know. I stopped watching mainstream media. Anything that's on mainstream, I cut my cable off about. I think just to let everyone on YouTube know, I go back with Mike Barnes a long time. We were neighbors in Vancouver. We were on Abbott Street in the year, 2007?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I cut my cable, Mike. About there on Abbott Street in 2007. I haven't gotten cable. Then I got married, and you got married. I had kids. My kids, we still don't have cable since then.
Mm-hmm.
You know that?
Well, cable, you cancel the cable, it cures everything.
Yeah. No, the canceling the cable, that was a good move. But still, sometimes I check my Hotmail, and then the stupid news comes up on MSN. msn.ca or Google. But you know what? I have my own news sources. Like I do like to follow, like you're one of my favorites, right? I'll just give a list. I do go to the Gateway Pundit.
Mm-hmm.
I do read Zero Hedge. I do check out RT. I still like Alex Jones. I know he has a kind of a energy level, a really high energy level. I do like Mike Adams on Natural News, and I've been following Natural News since 2011.
Whoa.
And Alex Jones, I was following him since 2001. Could you believe it? I also like to check out sometimes Press TV. I do like to check out Rebel News.
I love Rebel News. They're great. How they get out there and get themselves in trouble.
Yeah, I do like to check them out. Sometimes, because the province and the Vancouver Sun, their websites now charge if you read more than 4 articles, or you're going to join.
I'm not going to pay for fake news, dude.
No. So what I do is I go to CTV News to check out locally what's happening in Vancouver, like about that North Vancouver shooting that happened, or the stabbing that happened today. I went to CTV News. On other things, other than that, I get a lot of my news on now. My number one source of news are bloggers like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I do like, from a blogging standpoint, there's a whole bunch prior to the election, but a lot of them got deplatformed from YouTube.
Yeah.
And what I liked about them was they weren't totally on the Trump side, but they were just reporting truth, right? They were just reporting, here's the facts, this is what's happening, right? But they all got deplatformed.
The man.
And that's such a disservice, because now when I go onto my favorite subscription list on YouTube, right, there's rarely anyone there now.
Yeah, I know you got people pouring gravy down their pants and all that kind of crap. Nobody cares, right?
No.
You can only pour gravy down your pants for so long until it gets old.
Yeah. So exactly. And other than that, there's that one channel, they were giving really good news updates, and I forgot since the election, the real Red Pill 78, he was really good too. He got deplatformed. But what I think right now are bloggers like yourself are the number one news source for me, and then those websites I like, and then I check out some local news. But,
yeah, Ralphie's saying China Unscripted is really good. Okay, listen, Rex, I gotta let you go because we're running out of time here, and
get another. Yeah, try to get somebody on the call and
I will
ask them, where are we going to go in the future? Like how? I'm searching for that answer. How long is
I think all our moral compasses are searching for that right now.
Yeah. Okay. God bless, Mike.
God bless you. Thank you so much, Rex. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
That is Rex Cohan calling in to weigh in the show. We got 26 Gunter who's ready to go. He wants to talk about something. He's out of work right now. He's like off of work. And let's see if he picks up his phone here. Yo, I've been trying to reach you. A lot tougher to get than the president.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Good, good. All right. What's going on? You said you needed to come on and tell us something.
Yeah, I just wanted to come on ramble for a little bit. I just got off work.
Mm-hmm.
And that was quite a show last week, Lord Humongous and the Raven. I wanted to come on, but felt a little intimidated. I figured I'd come on this weekend.
Okay, so tell everyone where you're based out of and what's going on in your region.
I'm in southern Wisconsin, and we're actually getting a lot of tech companies moving into the state capital because the taxes are cheaper. We have a fair amount of industrial jobs. In fact, the factory I'm working at, we just consolidated from another plant that's on the East Coast. We manufacture electrical devices, and they just closed a plant this past January, and we absorbed one of their manufacturing departments, and one of the key components of this device is silver. And I work in that department. We're starting to get a lot of people moving here from like Milwaukee, Chicago, the Twin Cities. A lot of people. The demographics are definitely changing. Overall, the economy, a few, in fact, I know a handful of them that work at another factory here. Most people, though, are coming from in-state or upper northern Illinois. But, overall, the economy is fairly good in Wisconsin. We have had some business closures.
Mm-hmm.
There was a company called Big R. They're kind of a regional store. I think there were like 25 stores that closed because of the pandemic last year.
Right.
They had one in our town. It was where a Kmart used to be, and that closed down years ago. We just had a tire distribution center get put in here. And that's
you know what
supposed
it is?
to
It's
employ
because you pay less taxes there where you are in Wisconsin, and the state tax is more reasonable. I think the corporate tax is more reasonable there. I also believe that wages are reasonable there, and you can still buy a house for a reasonable price in Wisconsin. But I don't know how long that's going to last.
Yeah, I got a little anecdotal example of inflation. About 3 weeks ago, I went to McDonald's and got a McGriddle meal, and it was around $9. And I remember last year paying between $7 and $8 for one, and then go back 16, 17 years ago when I was in junior high, and my mom used to take my brothers and I to McDonald's in the morning. We'd get breakfast, pay about $3 for a meal, and that was we were living in Texas at the time. Mm-hmm. So in less than 20 years, there's kind of an example of some big inflation right there. I know that's kind of a hot issue of whether we're seeing the prices of things, we're seeing inflation or just shortages, but I think it's a combination of both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And taxes aren't too terrible. And there's plenty of land and houses that are fairly cheap. If you're making $15 an hour, even if you have a little beat up car, you can afford rent in most of the small cities in Wisconsin.
Well, yeah, it's still within reason. You guys, like the position you're in right now is where Canada was, let's say 1987.
Yeah.
So you guys are like where Canada was back in the 80s, where houses were very reasonable, a couple of $100,000, not even a couple of $100,000. You could pick up some land there for under $20,000. I saw in Wisconsin, a couple of acres, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking to get. Hopefully, if things don't go topsy-turvy here soon. The government's starting to reach on gun control, and the sentiment is that they're gonna come for the guns, and I believe it. So you had Beto O'Rourke with his when he was in the Democratic presidential campaign saying, "Hell yes, we're coming for your guns." I believe it that they're going to start reaching for them within the next year or two. I wouldn't be surprised if some really hard gun control laws get passed, especially this one that they currently have that passed the House. It would make something like over 100 million people criminals overnight.
Yeah, I know in Canada they're banning all these guns, and I know they did another gun sweep in New Zealand 4 or 5 weeks ago. They're doing a big gun sweep in New Zealand, so it's kind of interesting to see how their private firearms or they're coming after the citizen now. I don't.
Yeah,
think,
and
yeah,
it's real interesting that ruling that just happened in the Ninth Circuit Court that ruled that you can't open or concealed carry a firearm outside of your home. And there are a lot of people that think the Supreme Court might strike it down, but I'm just thinking, the same Supreme Court that refused to hear any case on the election, the fraudulent election, good luck with that.
Yeah, if it's the same, yeah. And that's why the rest of the world's watching, I guess, the collapse of the great American empire, because of the fact that your president fell up a flight of stairs 3 times. And, I mean, everyone's looking at and then you got TV shows like The View that's telling people how to live their lives and what they should be doing. And then you got, you know what I'm saying? It's such an upside down Mickey Mouse. And then you got your border issue right now on the southern border. It's beyond. And obviously, they're going to blame Trump, right?
Yeah. Well, they just need more chaos. The more chaos they can get, the more anxious and depressed people get. Whether they're a liberal or a conservative, they need everybody in a kind of a constant state of panic, so that they can't think clearly.
It's this mainstream media, you guys, and the mainstream media we got here in Australia, all over the place. It's like, I wish I could tell these people in the mainstream media, shut the hell up, give people a break. I feel sorry for the people that watch the mainstream media in and out every day. 400 cases, 300 cases, 2 people died. And it's like, give the people a goddamn effing break.
Yep.
You're talking about...
It's just like today, I saw on the local news in my plant, that's pretty much all they play is the local news. Although I live about 40 miles from the state capitol, that's what we pick up. And they have a journalist crew dedicated to covering just the vaccine. They call them the vaccine crew.
Wow, what a waste of taxpayers' money.
Yep. They were talking about today how we got down to like 3 deaths a day from it. And
but yet no one's dying of cancer, no one's dying of AIDS, no one's dying of old age, no one's dying of anything else.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just concerned, though, it's going to be getting to the point where the vaccine will be mandatory for everything. And that's when I'm hoping I have land or something. I wish I had started preparing better 2 years ago, which is when I started buying gold and silver, and went ahead, bought some land upstate, and stashed enough money away to where I could just pay on the property taxes until, they finally come after me for it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where it's going to get to. Anybody who doesn't want to be in the system is just going to have to try and move out into the woods and last as long as possible.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll end it at that note, 26 Gunter. I appreciate you coming on, giving us an update. And keep your ear to the ground and kind of follow what's happening with this gun confiscation, and then find out, what's going on with, in the next couple of weeks. You can come back on and give us an update. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoy coming on. I haven't been on in a while because I've just been working my tail off trying to.
I know you have.
Get myself prepared.
I know.
But another thing, our gas prices have shot up too since the election.
Yes.
People are kind of anticipating $4 a gallon gas here by the summer. We're already just shy of $2.60.
Yes. And we're going to push towards, I think oil's going to go up too. And then now with this Suez Canal, what's happening there? I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff happening. So we're going to see. I believe I'm a true believer in the price. I'm invested in oil because that's how sure I am of what's going to happen. And that's how you do it. You predict the trends. All right, 26 Gunter. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon, and stay strong, buddy.
Thanks. Have a good one, Mike.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
That is 26 Gunter out of Wisconsin. Things are picking up in his neck of the woods. And let me tell you, man, things are really, truly starting to turn on a dime real quick in a heartbeat. And I don't know where things are headed, to be honest with you guys.
Hola, amigo.
Hey, Supreme. We got Supreme Cannon on the phone. Live via satellite.
Live via satellite, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Or two tin cans and a string. We'll see how my internet goes tonight.
All right, let's go over some news, some headlines, and see what you got. Philippines alarmed by more than 200 Chinese ships massing in disputed waters. What is China pulling?
Oh, I imagine it's a bluff of some kind, some kind of demonstration. They're probably trying to gin something up or counter some U.S. move that's been made already. I would imagine. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're ready for war unless they're desperate.
Well, they're preparing for war, from what it looks like.
Well, I mean, they're building up their military, obviously. Yeah, they're trying to modernize it and make it halfway serviceable. But yeah, 200 Chinese ships. Are they all military?
They're fishing ships. They're a mix of everything, actually. Support ships.
Oh yeah. It's just being a nuisance.
Being a nuisance. Yeah, no, I'm like, here it is. There's a bit of video clip here. I don't want to take too much of it here because they're going to start accusing us.
183 Chinese vessels are seen in Hulian.
So they're in Pyongyang, I don't even know. Okay, North Korea hits Biden's provocation, threatens more arms buildup. So this is a good test for the new president-elect of the United States of America. What are they going to do? I mean, now, go ahead.
Well, where North Korea is concerned, I mean, they essentially have existed as a Chinese client state since 1949.
Right.
So I would imagine now that now that you don't have a U.S. administration trying to tone down the rhetoric and maybe cool things down a little bit over there, there's no more reason for. I mean, someone in Beijing probably made a call to Pyongyang and said, "Okay, it's time to wrap things up." I can't imagine what else it would be. I mean, they're not going to take on America by themselves, but obviously, as long as Biden is there and they're basically training the U.S. Army to, spend more time being sensitive to men who wear high heels, they don't consider them much of a threat at the moment, or much less of a threat. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. So I'm getting some video. I'm trying to get some video footage here. I'm getting some guy with funky hair here, but it's not. I wanted to get a video of the footage of the missile. This is a very misleading video. It shows a video of a missile firing, and you got some guy with crooked hair. But anyways, let's move on here.
Our buddy Kim there, yeah.
No, it wasn't Kim. It was some other guy.
Oh, okay.
I want you to comment on at least one dead after knife-wielding attacker goes on stabbing rampage in Canadian library.
Oh, boy. Well, what do we know about the stabber?
It was in North Vancouver at the Lynn Valley Library. We don't know much about him. Usually when they hide the person's identity, it's more of it's what the media does. It likes to hide.
Yeah, well, plainly he was a white supremacist. Yeah, obviously.
Well, no, it's going to be a white supremacist until the picture gets revealed, and then they're going to have to recall it.
That's right. And if it wasn't, then they'll say, well, the people didn't die from the stabbing. They caught COVID from the unsterilized knife or something. That's usually how it works. Yeah, that's just how it is.
Yeah, and that's the sad part of that, especially what happened in Boulder, right?
Yeah, same idea.
They were blaming white people this, white people that, and all these celebrities on Twitter and Instagram saying, oh, this, and white people that. And then after, he wasn't white.
No, they're just trying to gin up the rhetoric. They're just trying to increase divisions as much as possible and put the ironically they say it's the Caucasians they want to put back on their heels, but there's a whole lot of people that they're putting back on their heels. It's not like there weren't Latins and blacks voting for Trump too, right? It's just that's the line. They've been using the line for increasingly, especially over the last 20 years, and they're just not gonna they're not even the problem. The problem is that so many jurisdictions who just cuck out. They just refuse to defend their own people.
Lord Humongous is saying so much white hate in Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah, well, I imagine since their invasion from California, Colorado is probably
Amerifornia.
Amerifornia. Yeah, it's likely that Colorado is about as woke as Southern California now.
Yeah, it's
So yeah, no, it's just
California now.
yeah, it's just really a lot of white liberals who absolutely have not had enough bad things happen in their life.
Mm-hmm.
They don't live in reality. It is what it is.
They live in the View.
They live on the View. Yes, exactly. They tune in every morning at 9 a.m. for the View. Yes, and until we have a real economic upending, until we have a real hard hit of some kind, they're just not going to learn. Like, these are just people that have not had to deal with any kind of real hard reality in their entire life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here it is. Suez Canal blockage costs $400 million an hour. And here's how it's been impacting businesses worldwide. And now, could this be... Now, hold on, Supreme. Like hear me out on this. Could this be the little thin hairline trigger that raises the price on things, but the prices never come back down again?
I suspect that's why that ship is sitting in the bank, Mike. It jug into the bank is because they need something to explain the inflation that's about to hit us like a wave.
And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this happens... They blame it away. They start doing this. Inflation starts to kick off. Things start getting more expensive. Prices don't come back down ever for anything. So
no. Well,
unless you buy a stock that sucks. But that's about it.
The big problem, too, of course, is all of the other shipping and this just-in-time economy that we have has now become the way too late economy. So you're going to have all this funny money flooding out to people, and there's going to be nothing for them to buy because manufacturing has been beat. It's taken a nightstick to the knees. Yeah, it's funky. But in the port of San Diego, there's a line of ships waiting to dock that's about 200 miles long now. So there's been a backed up supply chain for quite a while.
But the ports in San Diego a majority of the ports in San Diego are owned by the Chinese communists.
Well, there's probably some purposeful slowdowns going on there too, I would imagine. That's probably why. Is it some kind of plan? God, who knows? The thing about big complex plans is they go wrong. It doesn't matter if it's the white hats or the black hats or the gray hats who plan them. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. It's just, there's a lot of stupidity here too. It's just everything is operating on razor thin margins and up to the minute. This Ever Given was supposed to be in Rotterdam on the 31st of March. They got it's too late. The thing's going to be at a minimum of another week before they even know if their plan is going to work. I'm sure they have a plan by now, but it's a mess. Ships have been rerouted all over the place. It's going to be 12% of all trade goods, Blunt. That's right. Yeah, and the follow-on effects of that in the European economy and stuff going back to Asia as well is going to be. Like the disruption is the ripples are going to last for months.
But this could be a good reason for pricing to go up on toothpaste, toothbrushes, toilet paper, heck, anything you could think of under the sun will double, triple, quadruple. And they'll just, this is a great, like I'm saying, this is a great way to hide. We had worldwide protests. What happened? COVID came.
Sure. How do you get the price of oil up? Have we had like 2 missile attacks on Saudi refineries in the last week or so?
Yeah.
And now this ship.
Yep.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's bizarre, but it comes down to how are you going to conceal this inflation? How are you going to explain it away? You're going to have to say, well, the price of oil went up, energy went up because of 24 tankers that had to go around the Cape of Good Hope instead of through the Suez Canal. And and everyone will be saying, well, what are you doing about it? And all of the ministers will be, looking like those WWE refs who somehow mysteriously miss all those illegal holds with millions of people watching it on television.
And Jesse Ventura is commentating there and explaining that,
Why doesn't he see that? That ref is blind. It's like, no, he's literally paid to do that. It's all theater.
Okay.
Yeah, it's brutal.
3 parts. I'm going to read 3 headlines for you, and I want you to put it into perspective, right? 3 headlines.
Okay.
First headline.
I'll do my best.
Iran, China determined to boost long-term strategic ties, fight terrorism. says President Rouhani. So this is in Iran. That's posting this, and then we got the New York Times posting this almost the same story, saying China with 400 billion Iran deal could deepen influence in the Mideast. And then the third part, I found another article. Iran and China signed massive 25-year deal, 400 billion Chinese infrastructure investment for oil. So I forgot to put this on article scan. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and infrastructure investment for oil. Now, here's the deal with this. If the whole world's supposed to be going green and everything's going good and everybody wants to breathe in fresh air, and why is China ramping up on oil and 400 billion worth of it? Is this are we smelling war, or what's going on here, Supreme?
Oh, yeah, no, they're not going to let anything slow down their development at all in any such way. They don't care about coal. They don't care about fossil fuels. They don't give a crap about any of that. They're still building dozens of coal-fired power plants to stop the, to continue building their own industrial machine. They don't care. It's only over here. They don't have any woke people over there. They have a lot of nutty people over there, but not nutty like here. Not like the baizuo, like they call the average, prosperous white liberal in this part of the world. Like they just roll their eyes at us. They got to be laughing at us. Not that their, countries aren't hellholes too, but they're a different kind of hellhole. Here, it's like the dumbest people in the country are just swimming in gravy, and over there, they're like Russia, chess is a spectator sport, like PJ O'Rourke said. But everybody's living in little shacks, right? It's just such a mess. Yeah, Iran and China, they're natural allies. It creates another front. Because you've got U.S. bases, of course, in Iraq and in Pakistan, right? Which the idea is to basically surround Iran. So if Iran's got connections to the Chinese, well, then that kind of covers one of their flanks. Yeah, and it also kind of surrounds the Indian subcontinent as well. Mm-hmm. So there's strategic reasons for it. No doubt the Iranians take a lot of Chinese goods and a lot of Chinese weapons. You know what I mean? So
but the China and Russia have been huge in playing the circumvent U.S. attempts of the blockade of Venezuelan and Iranian crude, right? So,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Nations don't have friends; they have interests. Where their interests intersect, the Soviet Union, Uncle Joe Stalin was technically our ally in World War II, and we sent him billions and billions of dollars worth of munitions and food and boots and everything, right? Is that because we loved them? No, we hit their guts. We thought they were scum, but it was in our interests to prop them up in order to defeat the Germans, right?
Okay.
And that's just how these things are. And that's what's happening in that part of the world, too. The Chinese and the Iranians, obviously, with all the sanctions on them, the Russians with all the sanctions on them. There's just a massive trading area with every kind of resource and element in the periodic table. And they could be an economic juggernaut if they get their act together. And there's no reason for them not to try.
All right, here it is. Who imports Iranian oil? This is barrels per day. China is in first place with 613,000 barrels per day. South Korea, 387,000 barrels per day. And India, 258,000 barrels per day. Unknown, 226. That's a black market petrol.
That must be, yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Japan, 108,000 barrels per day. And then we have Turkey at 97,000 barrels per day.
Yeah. Yeah, they ship a lot of that black gold Texas tea.
Mm-hmm.
They really do, yeah. And China, obviously, it's in their interest to maintain close relations and ensure and act as a bulwark against any temptation by neocons to add Iran to the heads over their mantelpiece. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they don't want that. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, Jelly Bean.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you see Russia and China trying to de-dollarize, and obviously it would be in Iran's interest to get away from the dollar. Let's be frank, it would be in the interest of just about everybody to get away from the U.S. dollar now.
Yeah.
Right. But it's gonna take a crash to make it happen. But no, I could see those three massive countries becoming a pretty powerful economic bloc. Because at least Russia and China, even if they have sanctions on them, still have access to the sea and massive manufacturing bases. Okay. So they can move Iranian stuff too, right?
Yep. And it's a shorter. Instead of going through the Suez Canal, you could go through Iran through land to get it up into the northwest there faster.
Yeah. There's talk of
if you go through Iran through land, there's a faster route than going all the way around, but by the water there.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah, they don't have to go through the Persian Gulf. The thing is Iranian ships ship crude, and it does, it gets through because Iran isn't actually at war with anybody. Mm-hmm. And if they're trading with nations that aren't under the U.S. umbrella or less so, then obviously, as your chart showed, they ship a whack of oil every year.
That's per day.
Or per day, yeah. That's per day. Yeah, that's massive.
All right. Without getting my channel shut down,
okay,
I need you to comment on this one without getting us in trouble. Here goes. This one was sent to me over 100 times this week. Okay. Oakland will now give low-income families of color $500 per month with no strings attached.
Yeah, they're nuts. They've gone completely off the rails. I can't imagine why they would be doing that. It's not even an election year. I don't know. It seems pointed because it specifically excludes Caucasians, even low-income Caucasians, right? Like they're just being quite open about it. So it's it's just another divisive tactic.
Okay, let me tell you a little something. When I lived in America, there's one thing I noticed about America when I lived there for 5 years. Do you know what I noticed about America that Canada doesn't have? Is that people living in America are all Americans. Whether they're black, Hispanic, Latino, Arab, it doesn't matter. They're all Americans. Like when I was in Florida, I'd ask an Arab guy that came in my shop, was talking to me, and I'm like, "Where are you from, man?" He's like, "Oh, I'm American." I'm like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "You have an accent." I go to him, "You have an accent." He's like, "Oh no, I was born in Saudi Arabia, but I speak Arabic, but I'm American now." But everybody, when I was in America, everybody was American.
Mm-hmm. Well,
they were unified under that American dream. When you come to Canada, I'm a Portuguese. When I was in high school, everybody considered themselves as Italian, Greek, Chinese, Japanese. Nobody referred to himself as a Canadian. And that's the weird thing. When I was in America, everybody was an American.
Yeah, well, e pluribus unum, right? From any one. The idea is you come to America, you become a naturalized American citizen, and at that point, you're expected to give your loyalty to America. And where a lot of these people are coming from, there's every reason for them to enthusiastically embrace that ideal. I love the idea myself. I would love for Canada to be like that. It's not like I'm not proud of my country. The problem is that our nationalism here is multiculturalism has been a real obsession with Ottawa for over 50 years. And I think the reason is because, for the most part, ironically, I think it's just to subsume the Anglo-French heritage of the place. The UK, I mean, not just Anglos. I mean, obviously, that's Scotland and Wales as well. They're not, precisely Anglos, right? And I think the idea is just to divert all that, to kind of make a melting pot out of Canada. The problem is we're a small country with a large country with a small population, and there's not the same. There's just not that many big cities where you can assimilate people like that. And the kind of woke policies they've had, especially the last 20, 25 years, really isn't helping. Because you've got all these constituencies and bureaucracies as well that are determined to maintain their influence. So picking the scabs of division keeps them employed. You've got the race grifters like Al Sharpton and, the Reverend Jesse Jackson and Sean King, who's actually a white guy. I like to call him Talcum X, for crying out loud. But, there's money in that.
Right.
There's money in the politics of oppression. And here, everyone's happy all the time. Everybody gets along in Canada, right? Yeah. No, this place has come close to busting up a couple of times too. But nationalism here was more a heritage of being a dominion of the British Empire, right? And we still have the Queen on our money, but we don't have the same a lot of people in Canada now don't have the same affinity for those old Commonwealth ties as they did before. So it's a little different here. We're a monarchy, but I think we'd have to be a republic before we could go down that road. And we can't do what America did. Not in our current state anyway. That's how I see it.
Okay, let's move on. Ready?
Okay.
Your friends in the news?
The man.
Canada Africa Climate Fund receives $132.9 million investment from the Trudeau Liberals. So when is Canada going to start feeding and housing a lot of the growing homeless crisis we're having in all our provinces?
Never. I mean, we have a red-hot housing market. Obviously, everyone is prosperous, Mike. Right? I mean, they can point to that hot housing market and say, well, look, see, the demand for housing has never been higher. Plainly, we're a prosperous economy, right? 132 million. Well, that's probably a $13 million kickback to somebody in Quebec or on either side of the Gatineau River. Someone in the Laurentian elite or in the liberal bureaucracy somewhere, liberal bureaucracy, I repeat myself, obviously, is getting a large kickback from that. I mean, obviously, where is it going? How are you going to fix the climate in Africa? And why do you need to? I haven't even heard an explanation why they need to fix it here, frankly.
Yeah.
But no, it's a
carbon tax. It's all carbon tax.
It's a carbon tax.
They're taking our carbon taxes and giving it to other countries is what they're doing.
That's right. Yeah, you take you take money from poor people in rich countries to give to rich people in poor countries. That's all it is. As the old saying goes. Yeah, it's a grift. It means nothing. What are they going to do? Put up some solar panels like they don't have them already there? Silly. No. It's just kickbacks.
Okay, well, here, let me get.
You're talking about all man.
Let me get my clapping here. Here it goes. Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, Michelle Obama group push bill that would ease voter ID requirements. Why the heck would they? I earlier in the show, I discussed how complicated it is to vote in Mexico. And you can't even consume or buy, and the bars are not even open during that 4-day window during Mexican elections. And you have to have ID, and it's barometrics in Mexico. The other countries are going full blast into democracy, but America's going backwards.
Well, they want to make sure that Democrats never lose an election again. It really is that simple. It's about power and nothing else. I mean, why was the border turned into a sieve again and people come flooding in to the point where the governor of Texas had to declare a state of emergency and sent, Texas Rangers and the National Guard to the border to try to plug it? No, they're just going back to what they were doing and kind of stopped after 2016 for a few years. No, they're just back on their bullshit. Pardon the language, but no, they're just doing their thing. They don't want to lose another election ever anywhere. They want power. It's about nothing else. You call it bridges not walls, hope not hate, Black Lives Matter, Southern Poverty Law Center. No, it's about power. It's about nothing else but power. They don't care. Someone pointed out in the comments earlier. I mean, there were women that whole Me Too thing. There were women that have been trying to get the courts to do something about Bill Clinton for years, and they just get swept under the rug.
God forbid that wasn't Donald Trump.
No, well, even the things.
God forbid that wasn't Donald Trump falling up a flight of stairs 3 times.
Well, it's like that thing where Trump, somebody recorded him saying, if you're famous and they walk up to you, you could just grab them by the hoo-ha, right? Well, if Mick Jagger had said the same thing, everybody'd be flicking their lighters and going, yeah, Mick, you're such a brat, right? But it was this guy they used to like, and now suddenly they don't like him. And from that moment on, no, he was this horrible monster. And then there's Bill Clinton with how many women did Trump have at that debate when Bill Clinton was sitting in the audience that all accused him of raping them?
Like 13.
You know what I mean? Yeah, something like that. And what happened to him? Nothing.
I think it was 8.
To him. Yeah, if you're in the club, you're good. If you're not in the club, crazy. Well, either get in the club or you're not going anywhere. It's about power. It's about nothing else but power.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I got you on to wind down the show. We're approaching our 3rd hour.
We are indeed. Well, it's always a pleasure, Mike.
It's been a really busy night tonight. Lots of good call-ins. And I appreciate everyone taking the time to call in and be part of the channel.
Yeah.
Any plans for the weekend?
I am going to Armstrong. I'm going to meet my son for lunch. I haven't seen him in a year since all this nonsense started. So he bought some new wheels. So I'm going down to Armstrong to meet him halfway. and have a visit for a little while. Other than that, nope, not much going on. Pretty quiet here.
All right. Well, we'll have you on again next week or the week after if you're not available. Then we'll have you on, and then we'll go over some just what's happening in current affairs, and maybe next week we'll talk about the blame game. Next week's show is called the blame game. What's next week's show called? It's called, I don't even know what to call the shows ahead of time because everything changes so quick. Accountability time.
Accountability time. Yeah. Well, accountability is part of, it's been said here in the comments a couple of times too. We talk about the problems, but don't talk about solutions a lot. Mm-hmm. To address just for 30 seconds, Mike, what Rex said, asking about what we think is going to happen. I'll be honest with you. I think that energy, the kind of abundant energy we would need for the technocratic world they want to build already doesn't exist. I don't think they have the substitutes for it. And I see enough attacks happening on other fronts that suggests to me that this plan that they want to bring in is going to grind to a halt. Remember that most of the people that are trumpeting this Agenda 2030 and all this nonsense are in their 80s and 90s. They're not even going to live to 2030. I don't think they're going to pull it off because enough people seem to wake up. And the fact is they kind of have to operate in the shadows so they don't get deplatformed, right? But they're there. And I mean, we're proof of it, right? There's a little number of us here. You've got almost 14,000 subscribers on your channel alone, who kind of know the deal. That's actually collectively a fairly large economic block all by itself. That's withdrawn from the system in every way possible and is going to defeat the system in every way possible. I don't think they're going to pull it off. It's going to look ugly for a while, guys. Definitely hunker down. Because it's going to be hard for a while, but be brave too, right? Yeah. Like there may come a day when you have to fight in some way. So fight in every nonviolent way you can in the meantime.
Andy Lee in the comments saying, I left Arizona. It's the next California. So it's Amerifornia happening. It's going to be Texafornia, Florifornia. You're going to have Alabamafornia. You're going to have Southifornia, Northifornia. You're going to have, it's going to be crazy.
You could. I mean, but they were arguing that demographics meant that there was going to be no possible way that a Republican would ever be elected president again. Yet, as near as we can tell, Donald Trump won by a landslide.
I know.
And then they just stole
lots of stuff going on.
There's lots of evidence about that. I don't know, but I mean, unless there's some kind of legal discovery, it's all in limbo anyway, right? But the point is, obviously, it wasn't all just middle-class white men voting for the dude, right? Like lots of people voted for him because they liked the vision he was selling. No, populism is a force. Populism is rising. And you don't need guns to overthrow government. How many guns did the mob have that stored in the Bastille? 2. Right? Maybe 2. Yeah. No. If the people that are expected to keep the mob down, the people that they were recruited from, like in Spain, I saw that there was some riot police, or Germany, I believe it was Spain. They actually put their helmets and riot shields on the ground and lined up in ranks to support the protesters.
That was in Spain.
That was in Spain. Yeah, you're getting rebellions among the police. There were, during this Gilets jaunes thing, there were police in Paris who committed suicide because they were so torn about what they were doing, or they were resigning. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Well, you've got a lot of ex-military and you've got a lot of ex-police that have left out of protest. That protest won't end there. If things get rough, you're going to find rough hands ready to do stuff. If it comes to that, it's not over by a long shot, guys.
Right.
Okay, but let's look after today and look after each other as best we can. All right.
Or Supreme, in the next 2 weeks, the weather's getting good. See if you can come down on a Saturday to see me, or during the week anytime.
Yeah, I want. Pardon me. You're open on Wednesday?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, I will try to get down to see you probably week after next. I'll make it midweek. I'll text you.
Please.
I'll let you know when I'm coming. Yeah.
Please.
You can tell me what kind of donuts I should bring.
No problem. I'll let you know.
All right, brother.
God bless you.
Okay. God bless everyone. Great to interact, and we'll talk soon.
Ciao.
Ciao.
That is Supreme Cannon from the middle of the province. Just an hour and a half away from me. Guys, I want to thank everybody for coming on. Next week, I want to get, if Layla is available, I would like to have her on. I would also like to have Mitch Madden come on from Oregon to give us an update there. We'll get Layla, who's in Egypt right now, and we'll work towards getting Blunt News if he's not busy. We'll try and get the Raven to come on full kook. We got West Landofornia, Andy Lee. We gotta get Andy Lee on the show. I want to get some first time callers in next week, please. I want to get Spark Jive to call in. I want to get who else is on here? John 23Z on the channel too. Like to get him on the channel. Jay Pastor from I think it's Philadelphia. To come on the show, please, Jay Pastor. I need you to come on the show. I need people to start calling in and being part of this channel more. They comment, that's nice, but just call in, man. Just add me on Skype, Mike Martins 1980, and I would really appreciate that. To get more new voices on the show. We got the support here, we got the followers, we got the people. You know what time it is. Guys, don't forget to set your reminders for next week's show. Accountability time. If you want to call in, if you want to be a first-time caller and call in and tell us whose fault is it anyway? Whose fault? Set your reminders for next week's show. I want to thank Lord Humongous in the comments, Blunt News, Mike Banks, John 23Z, Vman 293, Mitch Madden, Moonlight. Who else we got here? Supreme Cannon for coming on, Layla, The Raven, Big Rob New Zealand, Jay Pastor. Who else we got here? Andy Lee for coming on. We got to get Andy Lee on the show too. Vman 293, I think I said that. Brian House Cartoons, that's artbydano.com. Check him out. Joe Rocha is going to Florida. Who else we got here in the comments? Anyway, guys, take care. And if you can't, please stay safe. Mike Martins here, signing off from Mike in the Night.